And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to welcome you all to the Hello LLC. If you don't know what Hello stands for, let me make it real easy peasy breezy for you. Hello stands for helping entrepreneurs leverage leading edge optimizations. More importantly, what do? We have a done for you system to help you pivot from 2D to 3D, where we rebuild your foundation, your crusty, dusty foundation that you might be utilizing, that old static website, that old link tree, and be able to upgrade you to our wonderful, amazing biz in a box, one app, one tap. And then we're able to implement strategies, implement AI, implement and share with you how you can transition and create a different experience that we're all looking for. And if you listen to yourself, you will hear yourself say, I need a different experience. And one of my customers that have a different experience, this, that, and the other experience. And that is exactly what we do by helping you pivot from 2D to 3D. And more importantly, we want you all to come and join us in the metaverse. When we talk about the metaverse is nothing more than this third generation of the internet. If you put your nose up when I said that, I'm here to share with you. You're about to be a lot like these crypto people that put their nose up at the crypto, and now it's live in color. And all the governments, JP Morgan, BlackRock, all of them are saying, let's rock and roll. And now people are changing their tune and all for it. Don't be that character, because as me and Tara have continuously shared with you guys, the internet is outdated and we're moving to this Web3. And that's why we're bringing this to you, especially on our How To Tuesdays, where we talk about, how we can impact your business, improve your business, and really scale your business. And today we're talking about how to monetize your podcast and your brand. And tomorrow at the same time, same channel, we want you guys to come and join us for our Wisdom Wednesday, where we're going to be talking about crypto curious, learn why, and should you care now. That's going to be our conversation tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we have an amazing conversation or a podcast that we have live in the metaverse. We just don't talk about this. We be about this for our Hello Pivot, where we have the amazing Teresa Carpenter coming to join us. She's a 28-year naval commander. She has her own podcast. She was actually one of our clients, still is one of our clients, now going on 5 years plus now, having our original Hello briefcase that we call it. Now it's our biz in a box. And she's going to be joining us live. So definitely, you guys do not want to miss our weekly events. We encourage you guys to come and join us and learn more about this metaverse and how it really can impact your business. And something that I'll share, here in a little bit, that hopefully it will resonate with all of you. But Love, what's your take on today's topic? What you got to say about podcast and brand? Talk to us, ma'am.
Well, hello, beautiful people. It's a beautiful Tuesday where we are. Had to stop and think about, that 3-day weekend throws everybody off. You're like, wait, is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Where are we? Yeah. So hello, guys. It's so good to be here. We're going to talk about podcasting today and how to monetize your brand. What's my thoughts on this? Well, I could talk forever about it, I'm sure, but I won't steal all of David's thunder. But I'm excited to talk about this because a lot of questions that we get from current clients, potential clients, existing clients is, how do I do that? We were actually just helping Miss Roberta Bacino showcase her brand new released podcast called Kiss of Fame in the metaverse. And we released that this Saturday, was her first episode, and she had like 20 or 20 plus more people that showed up in person. And then not to mention like the 10 or 15 people that were on live. So she had a pretty good turnout for a live podcast, which is pretty cool.
In the metaverse.
Yes, in the metaverse. And she even said, I'm so grateful we're in the metaverse, guys, because I didn't have to get ready this morning. Like I knew I was going to see you guys just for the technical side up at the very, very beginning. But I didn't have to put my makeup on. I didn't have to do my hair. I didn't have to do anything. She's like, it was wonderful. She literally said that during her podcast. It is going to be playing up in our Hello Plaza. Has been all weekend, but David's actually putting it up there right now. But my point being about the whole reason why I'm sharing that, guys, is that one of her largest fears kind of around it was, well, who's going to come? Where am I going to do it? I don't know how to do it. How would I even do the technical side of it? And, just the whole structure of a podcast. And then her last thing was, I don't know how to monetize it. I'm afraid that, I'm doing something like called Kiss of Fame podcast. And how does that have anything to do with my Ar Pacino artworks? Because she's an artist and she has a lot of artwork that she puts on different products, sells the same art as fine art. Anywho, my point being is, she really was like, how do I monetize that? And we realized this is a great conversation for us to jump into and share with you guys of how to do that. And so luckily, the beautiful thing about it is when we were helping Miss Pacino with her podcast, she just shared with us what she wanted to feature. And because she is a part of our Pivot membership, and in the Pivot membership, part of this is included depending on what level you enter in at. But we were able to put this together all before the actual podcast on Saturday. So we were able to compile the video. We were able to compile an intro for her. We were able to compile a little sales ad, kind of, what we would know as a sales ad. Not that's what we called it, but it was a little featured spot of her artwork that the product she wanted to feature for that week's podcast. So the point being is there's so many ways to do this, so many ways. I was listening to another podcast the other day that was somebody that is not our client, will be our client one day soon, but and listening to her podcast, the monetization strategy mechanisms that they put in. And here, I'm going to say something. From a business owner who now has their podcast, and we've had our podcasts, for 7 years now.
Yep.
We understand, like before, when I would hear podcasts sharing about products or sharing about something that was off topic, maybe they had a new book out, like Ed Millett will, he'll share that he has a new book out, go check it out. When I used to hear these strategies, to be very frank, it frustrated me because as a consumer, I didn't want to hear about your stuff. I just wanted to come for the topic that I came to listen to. But now as a business owner, I get it. I understand. We don't get mad at the 7 billion commercials that McDonald's shows you on any given Sunday that you're sitting around taking a day off, watching some TV. We don't get mad at, the car commercials. We don't get mad at Big Pharma for all the commercials. You might just mute them, to be honest. That's what we used to do. But the point being is you're not losing your temper about that. So you really have to understand people aren't going to lose their temper about you trying to monetize within your podcast, and especially if it is your products or an affiliate of you where it helps you out. I want to say this, and I'm going to pass the mic back to Mr. Jones so we can go through some facts and stats and get this ball rolling and give you guys some concrete, strategies here, is when people are going through and they, hear your monetization, whether it's an ad or, you talking about something, a feature that you're doing within your podcast, we have changed times. We are in a different time right now. So maybe 4 or 5 years ago, those ads would come across, or they would kind of be seen as capitalistic. They would be seen as trying to, monetize everything you have for you. And now what people are starting to understand is, how can I support that creator? So there's been a shift in the mindset. And the mindset now is, how do I support that creator? I'm not saying it's mass adopted and everybody's doing that, but there is a tide, an undertow that's happening. And I see it all over social media right now. I see it within podcasts. It happens here and there. Pretty soon it will be the way it is done. But we are now stopping, instead of faulting that person for having some sort of feature or monetization within their podcast, we stop and say, no, how can I support that person? I really like the content they do. And I understand the only way that they make money is that if I'm interested to support them. Now, look, I'm going to tell you this. It's only happening with people who are doing good things out here in this world. So now it doesn't mean you have to be, solely out here for, in a a dog rescue or, feeding the homeless. That's not what I'm sharing. But what I am sharing is if you have a good heart, you're providing value to the community and what you're doing, then that is where people are showing up to want to, participate and support those creators. So I'm gonna park my scooter there because again, I could talk for hours about this conversation, but I don't want to give all the tips and strategies away just yet before Mr. Jones gets started. So I'm gonna hand this microphone back to Mr. Jones and let him take it away.
Well, first of all, we want to thank you all for joining us from all of our platforms. We are live in our Hello Plaza Metaverse. Once again, if you guys would like to join us in Metaverse and not just hear about it, I know a lot of you hear us and or come into our rooms or see us in other rooms and you hear about Metaverse and you're like, oh, that's cute, or you have a lot of questions. Well, the time is now for you to be able to literally press 4 buttons on your phone. For you to, go to thehellollc.io. That's in you can hit my face or Tara's face or go up to the top of the room. No matter where you are, there's a big link right there and you'll see a button that says Hello Plaza. And when you see that big button, blue and purple, you hit that button, it literally is going to take you over on your phone or on your laptop to a different web browser or on your iPad to the actual app store. Or, if you're in your VR headsets, you can go there as well. And so when you hear metaverse, please do not be that person. Well, I don't have my VR headsets. You don't need your VR headsets. You literally can join us right now, just as right now, we're in a metaverse room. We all have these avatars that have pictures of us. We're in this different experience talking about how to monetize your podcast and brand.
It's a 2D metaverse.
It's a 2D metaverse. Other than us just looking at these same old crusty dusty pictures, you now can implement yourself, create an avatar, and join our metaverse that if some of you might be watching us live as well, you'll see exactly what it looks like. And just because you see it does not mean you understand it. And that is why we encourage you guys to press 4 buttons, download that app, come back to the Hello LLC, hit that big button again, and then it's going to drop you straight into our metaverse world where you're going to be able to see it in a completely different way than what you've expected. It's not just about games. We just did a tour on the metaverse last week for our Hello Pivot, and we were showcasing how we have been, misleading, or what was your word that you used? We've been deceiving you guys on what the actual metaverse is.
We haven't been doing you justice.
Yeah, we haven't been doing you justice. And so this is why we want you guys to really come and make the pivot and see where Nike, see where Gucci, see where Samsung, see where Hyundai, see where JP Morgan, see where HCBC Bank is, see where Hong Kong Bank is already implementing their business, creating different experiences, which is even more so while we're talking about podcasts and your branding that Tara just talked about. We just had Roberta Pacino do her podcast in the metaverse. And so, when we talk about these things, especially with her being an artist is the inner child who survived the ego. Because in a way, we're all artists at the end of the day. You all have some expertise, something that is special about you that has survived this ego, this pride, this way of life, society of telling us no, telling us we can't do this, can't do that. In all reality, we're here to create. And a lot of the times we've forgotten how to create because we've been mundane in the same average daily pattern and program. Yet we're talking about, these robots taking over our jobs. I really want y'all to think about it. In a way, we're the robots more than anything. You're doing the same thing day in and day out and not willing to get uncomfortable to do something different. Prime example, I was in this room earlier and this lady said, "Oh yeah, David, I remember you. You were helping me with my website and this, that, and the other." Before the pandemic, guys, I went back to go check on what she was using. She's using the exact same thing she was using before the pandemic, pre-pandemic. And that is why I share with you guys all the time. What changes are you doing in your business? Because if you aren't changing, you're dying, point blank. At the end of the day, and especially those of us that say we have a business, we have to make sure that we maintain our business, not just with what we think, but what the actual economy and what is requested of us of a business to stay up with times. Don't be the next Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us will say, "Oh, well, David, I'm just not as smart as you guys. You guys know that technology. You guys know this, that, and the other." Well, look, it is will versus skill. It is not that hard to start your own podcast. I can assure you of that. Right now, you all could go to a free app called Spotify Podcasts, okay? Or Anchor by Spotify now.
Yes.
And you literally download that app. It's a free app. You can put your intro music in. You can be able to have an outro. You can literally have a podcast because people ask this question, how long should my podcast be? Your podcast can be a minute. Your podcast can be 2 minutes. Your podcast can be however long you want it to be because your story is your glory and your survival guide for somebody else or for somebody else to pick up, and more importantly, for you to remember. And I want you all to understand that, it is very easy for you guys to be able to literally do it once a month, once a week, I don't care, once a year. It does not matter, but do something because a podcast allow you to showcase your business and you get to tell your story. And I share this all the time. A lot of the times people say, well, David, what I do my podcast on? I'm a real estate agent. Well, number one, don't do your podcast on real estate. Okay? Do your podcast.
Why?
Because that's something you're not passionate about. You can only talk about real estate for so damn long, right? And so that's why we share with people, hey, if you want to do a podcast and you're a real estate agent, but you absolutely love gardening, and you go home every day after all the work you do and you get in your garden and you're just in there all weekend, do your podcast on gardening because that's something you're passionate about. That's something that you like to do. That's something that you cannot shut up about. Well, David, how is that going to help me in my real estate business? Well, it's easy. There are other people out there that like gardening, and they also need to buy a house or sell a house.
Or know someone who does.
Or know somebody that does. And while you're in your podcast, talking about the flowers, talking about the soil, talking about everything else, hey, by the way, if you guys don't know, I'm also a real estate agent. And if you're looking for a house or somebody needs a house that needs to be sold, go ahead and hit me up here. Boom. That right there is an instant commercial within your podcast talking about gardening. And that is a plug for yourself to where me and Tara, this right here essentially is a podcast, which blows me away. All of us have this access that we would have never had 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. You would have never been able to have a platform where you can go worldwide and say, hey, come listen to me. And here pretty soon, you guys haven't heard, Instagram is about to start charging.
Yep.
Which means Instagram also owns LinkedIn. LinkedIn also, Mark Zuckerberg also owns Facebook. So be on the prowl.
Explain to them when you say they're going to start charging. What does that mean? Because not everybody might have seen that breakdown of what's going on.
So they're going to start charging you for the amount of exposure that your post, that your reels, that your stories get exposed out into the real world. And I shared this over 2 years ago. I shared this even when Threads came out. I said, y'all just be ready, because if you're not showcasing your business now and promoting your business now, it's going to be a world of trouble when they start charging you for you going live, for you posting and things of that sort. And here we are, which is even more, please charge away, which is even more why we should be transitioning into the metaverse. You don't get charged there, right? In some worlds. And so this is why we're going to have this conversation of really understanding, what is your brand? A lot of you have to understand that your brand is your customer experience. It's the consistency across all platforms. So many of the entrepreneurs that we talk to, they're on LinkedIn and they only showcase their business on LinkedIn. The average business is on 6.6 platforms. You're falling behind. Why would you not be on TikTok? Why would you not be on X? Why would you not be on Instagram? Why would you not be on Facebook? Why would you not be on these multiple different platforms, especially for those of you that are in books? It blows me away that there are people that sell children's books and they're only solely on LinkedIn. Why would you just be on LinkedIn? These kids aren't on LinkedIn. You should have a TikTok. You should have a YouTube channel. You should be on multiple different channels expressing and showcasing your business, especially on a daily basis for all of you. Whether you have a podcast or not, you do not have a business if you don't showcase your business and people don't know about your business. And a lot of the times, what stops us from showcasing our business is that we're concerned about what our friends and what our family and what Billy Joe Bob, our cousin, our mother in law is going to think, which is why I encourage you guys all to separate yourself from your business. Come have a business page. We have an entire, me and Tara have our personal pages, and then we have our actual business pages where you can't say if you get 5, 6, 7, 8 posts a day, that's on a business page, not our personal page. And so that would be the number one thing that I would encourage you guys to do so you can get over that hump. And a lot of the things that we're talking about, and I'll back up, we can give you guys all the tips and tricks and gadgets and AI tools and talk to you about metaverse until we are blue in the face. But it does not matter until you decide to make a shift, make a change, and say, hey, I got to do something new. I got to do something different. And that's going to take me changing my energy, changing my vibration, and changing my frequency, the way that I look at these things and how I've been looking at these things from a one-sided scope when there's so many facets out here that I could be capturing, and especially understanding my target audience. More importantly, a lot of the times we continuously beat down the same target audience, and if they haven't bought from you now, they're not going to purchase from you at all. And so this is where we have to stop the insanity and do something differently. And so,
and we are, I was going to say,
yeah,
we're asked on a regular basis of how to monetize within their podcast, their brand. We had a call the other day. Young lady was like, I just want to monetize. How do I monetize? But I don't want to be online. And, look, guys, I want to be very frank. The influencer era that we have just came out of, and I'm just going to throw a name out there. It's, some people know it as the Kardashian era. Love or hate, whatever. That's not what the point of this conversation is, but those influencers that were very similar about lifestyle, that where they made it look easy of, oh, I have 7,000 or 20,000 or 100,000 followers. And, just with a snap of a finger, I now am monetizing. Guys, I'm going to be very frank. David and I have been in business of ourselves for over 8 years. We've been in corporate America for 22 plus years. We got some experience underneath our belt. Nothing comes just like that with a click of a finger. There is work that goes into things. There is time. There's consistency is the biggest thing. And a lot of times it's so heartbreaking when we hear people that get on the phone, whether they're a current client, maybe a potential client, they're like, I want to monetize. We're like, okay, how much time are you going to dedicate to this? And they're like, oh, no, I don't have any time. I want to set the system and forget it. And it's like, okay, that's not how it works. We have to, it's kind of like a baby. It's going to require some attention. It's going to require consistent feedings, consistent changings. It's going to require some consistency, some empathy, love, and care. And so I just want everybody to make sure that when they talk about monetization within their brand and in their podcast, they truly have an understanding that this doesn't happen overnight. If it does, look, there's flukes out there. There's, the power of social media where someone goes viral and yes, there's those things. But a lot of us are trying to shoot for that instead of just showing up consistently. And what a lot of people don't realize is that people who come out and are like all of a sudden overnight stardom, and you just see them all over social media, or they're the instant viral, or they're the newest star that's come out with the newest song, whatever it is, there is years of work behind it. Like, for instance, I don't know if anybody, has heard of Shabuzi's new song. He's a country artist, but he's a new country artist. My point being is this gentleman has come as what some people would see overnight and just showed up on the country scene and came, pretty favorable and, hot for his latest song. It's not, he has been singing for the last 10 to 15 years trying to get his name out there. There's another gentleman named Cody Johnson. He is a country artist. If you watch the AMAs, if you watch the CMAs, he was there at that. I've known Cody Johnson for the past 25 years. I knew Cody Johnson when he was a broke college student playing at Sam Houston, and he would play the bars at night. And we, as me and my girlfriends, we would go bar hopping. We would be up at Sam Houston's, which, by the way, for those that are not used to Texas, that's a college. We would be up there. He'd be this little, country boy singing in the corner for that night. And now he is receiving Grammys and awards on these large stages. So my point being is, he didn't just come overnight. He didn't just show up overnight. He's been putting in the work, but all of a sudden his break came overnight. And so I just want people to understand, to have a realistic understanding when it comes to monetization, and not to live in a fairy world, because we are not here. David Jones, Tara Bush, the Hello LLC. We are not here to fill you full of a bunch of smoke and tell you it's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, we're not here to tell you how to make $100,000 in a month or how to do this, how to do that. No, we are not going to candy coat any of that. And if you guys are listening to people that are saying that, I suggest you run as fast as possible, because they cannot be done whatsoever. When people just come up with these quick, easy strategies, there's work involved in it. I can assure you that. And there's consistency. And one of the things that I'll share with you guys all, because one of the things that people talk about, well, David Tar, I'm not good at the cutting and the editing and the putting it together. Look, people want you to be authentic. You don't have to do anything of that sort. People don't want that cut and slice and dice. They want the real you. Just like the other day, I was sharing with Tara. I was like, I know I curse sometimes during our conversation. I wonder how that plays off.
Two little sailors over here.
Yeah, and Tara was like, hold on, time out. We need to be authentic. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Gary V and all these other people can get on here and cuss up the storm, and people like it. And a lot of the times what blows me away, half of y'all asses be cursing up a storm, cussing out y'all kids, cussing out each other, cussing out somebody. But when somebody says it out loud, it's like, oh my God. And
that's we got that conditioning way of being exactly. Raised and not cussing in public.
Exactly, right?
That it was rude.
And so another great reason to for your branding is customer feedback. A lot of you have to be able to get, your customers. I encourage all of you. If you are an entrepreneur, you need to go back to your current customers, and you should be asking them to do a podcast with you. That's your first, clientele that I would be going and talking to and say, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I would love to bring you onto my podcast. You can talk about your business. I can talk about my business. You can talk about how I was able to help you, and vice versa. Now your friends become my friends, and now we're all friends. Boom. That's collaboration at its finest. And as you guys know, collaboration is the new currency. And it depends on the energy and the vibration and the frequency. And look, I know you've heard me say that. And I know for some of you, you're like, what is this dude talking about? Frequency and energy and vibration? Yes, I am. 7 years ago, I would have slapped myself for saying that. But it is so true when we look at it from a different lens. And so, making yourself different from being able to have this podcast. And so I want to go over some reasons of how AI traditionally can work for you. I want to also share with you guys some reasons that AI can help you with your podcast. We're also going to introduce you to some ideas that the metaverse can help you with as well. And if any of you would like to come on stage and share with us or open up about your podcast or tell us about your podcast, our stage is your stage. Press that button. Come on up here. Let's have a conversation, because the more the merrier. Our stage is your stage at the end of the day. And we want you guys to be able to understand we are all one conversation away from changing your life or changing somebody else's life. And it takes us to drop that pride, drop that ego, and more importantly, drop that stubbornness. And something that me and Tara talk about all the time is there's 4 expensive things on this planet Earth, and they're more expensive than anything else. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They are all on your body right now. It's a closed mind, it's a closed heart, it's a closed mouth, and it's a closed hand. We have to be able to open those things up. And I put a post out yesterday, change your thinking, change your life. because if you guys don't know, Tara and I are digital nomads, and we have are blessed to be able to travel the world, where we're actually about to consider to go over to Thailand. And I was just thinking, because right now we're currently in Guanajuato, Mexico, and we were living in Colombia before this. And I was thinking to myself,
can you see the pattern of warm weather, guys?
Yeah, well, we're going back to the beach now. And, this is just where I sat back and I was like, you know what? If I hadn't have changed the mindset that I had back then, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I'm so glad we were able to make that shift and make that transition and be open to these new ideas.
Yeah,
and
10 years ago, this wouldn't have been an option for either David or I, because we were too tied up into the materialistic world of things.
That part, right?
Yeah.
And so, we just want to share those things for you. So why should you have a podcast? David, this is cute and adorable. Tara, I love what you're saying, but why should I start my podcast that I can start today, that you just shared with me on that free app, Spotify by Anchor, that I can get right now and start my own podcast and put it out there? Yes, you can. And so a larger audience, you're going to be able to get a larger audience, because I'm going to be frank with you, especially here on LinkedIn. For those of you that don't know, that event tab went away for us to find all these events, but I found it the other day, and I want to help you guys out all on LinkedIn. Hopefully I can remember while I'm on the spot. For those of you that are on LinkedIn, if you guys remember, you used to be able to just hit your face, and below there was a events tab.
Under groups.
Under groups, but now it's hidden. So now what you have to do is you have to go to hit your face, and then what you do is you go, hold on. No, I had it.
Refreshing memory, one moment, loading.
Where's it at?
So while David pulls that up, guys, I'm going to jump in here about the audience of what the first thing that David shared was a larger audience. First of all, I was just having this conversation with David maybe a couple of weeks ago about how many of you were around here in the 80s and 90s. I'm an 80s baby, early 80s baby. So, I lived through the 80s, I lived through the 90s, and anytime we needed to find a business. Oh, we got it.
I got it.
Okay, let's tell this before
I forget it.
Yes.
All right. So what you do is you go to My Network, right? You hit the little screen at the bottom. You go to My Network, and then you're able to hit My Network, and then where it says invitations or manage my network, you literally hit that tab at the very, very top. It says manage my network, and boom, it brings up the screen where you'll see the events, and there you are. So that's for my people on LinkedIn.
List of a menu.
Yeah, for the old event. If you were wondering how can I find these events, that's where it's at. Literally, you go to your home screen, and at the very bottom, you'll see My Network. And then at the very top, it says manage my network. And then you get the little drop down screen, and it says events. And there you go. So that's just a little tip for my LinkedIn folks over there. So now you guys know how to find it. So,
all right, wait, back to the 80s. Back to the 80s and 90s about the larger audience.
Yep.
How did you find when you had to find a business, you went to the yellow pages.
Oh my God.
Or you asked somebody, or somebody referred you to them, or you saw a billboard.
Or you saw a commercial.
Well, yeah. Okay. Right. So depending on where you lived, I was country bumpkin out in the middle of nowhere, so we didn't watch a whole lot of TV. We had TV, we didn't watch a whole lot of it. Anywho, point being is it was the yellow pages. And if you had a podcast back then, you didn't have audio apps like we do today. You didn't have this thing called the internet where we could get on and the entire world had access to us. So when we talk about a larger audience, it is the simple fact of you now have a global audience ability instead of just your local community. And that is huge. That is why we talk about the benefits of Web 2 moving to Web 3. Okay, back to you, Mr. Jones.
That's okay. And so, number 2 is, targeted marketing, where you guys can target your marketing audience. Number 3 would be build brand awareness. Having your podcast allows you to showcase what your business do, how your business does it, and it's coming from you. It's not from a written text. And that's the other thing that we have to remember. A lot of you are writing these newsletters, doing these blogs.
People are not reading it.
That shit is old and outdated. Stop that. Ain't nobody reading none of that shit. They're getting that
notification. The only generation that's reading is baby boomers.
they're getting that notification and they're being able to they're getting that notification, reading the title, and that's it. It's gone. And some people are liking it, some people aren't. This lady the other day said, well, David, I got 7,000 followers and 15,000 subscribers to my blog, and I'm going to be able to sell all of them my books. That right there, is 22,000 books that I'm going to be able to sell. And I had to politely tell her, I said, ma'am, followers don't equal dollars. And I said, I tell you what, go to that blog that you just posted. How many people liked it, that blog? She said, oh, 5 people. Mm-hmm. I said, so out of 15,000 people that subscribed to your blog, only 5 people liked it. That right there should be a telltale sign of followers do not equal dollars. And she looked at me and she said, David, I never thought of it that way. I said, yes, way. That is exactly it. And so this is why we share with you guys, be able to adjust how you're targeting your audience, because they're not doing that, right? Not only that, you get to connect with your customers on a personal level, okay? Where your voice is the loudest, is the best, strongest chakra in your body at the end of the day. Not only that, cost-effective marketing. I just shared with you guys, starting your own podcast allows you literally to start for free. And this goes out on Spotify. This goes out on all these channels. Although if you don't have a biz in a box, I'm here to tell you, you showcasing your actual podcast and telling people to go to Spotify and listen to your actual, podcast. It's hard. People, first of all, aren't going to go download the podcast. Just like some of you have been in this room and you haven't downloaded to come into Metaverse yet. Please believe that people aren't downloading to go and listen to your podcast, okay? And you're not on live conversation like they are with you right now. And so once again, when you have people go download that Spotify, if they listen to it, you're going to get a conversation like this. Girl, you listen to my podcast? Girl, I'm so sorry. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I'm gonna download the app tonight and I'm gonna listen to it. Week goes by, still hasn't downloaded the app. Now they're running and ducking and dodging you and your text messages because they still haven't done what they said they were gonna do. And so, on our Biz in a Box, we make it easy peasy breezy, where literally people can listen to your podcast right on your actual Biz in a Box, which is nothing more than your updated website, your updated landing tree. Learn more about that, because I'm so serious about how that can help your business, pivot your business, and showcasing your business in a completely different way. Let alone being able to understand that, look, you get to increase your traffic. You're probably wondering why I was talking about that, because having a podcast, you especially having it on your Biz in a Box, or not just telling people to go to Spotify, you're missing the traffic on your actual business. Why would you send them to Spotify and not have it to where it's on one central location, to where not only can they listen to your podcast, but also they can search other, segmentations of your business, from your AI Motion Works to your Metaverse, to your actual Pivot membership, or your book, or your masterclass, or your webinar, or your apparel line, right? Boost sales. This will take me to the next thing. And I'm about to give a big tip. Those of you that do have a business, my question to you, my friends, although it might seem small and minute, it's still monetizing your business. Why do you not have an apparel line for your business? Especially if you have a book, or if you're an author, or if you're a coach. Why would you not have your logo on your shirt, especially if you go live, or you're doing, or you're showcasing yourselves? Instead of wearing Nike or somebody else's stuff, you're wearing your stuff. And because we're talking about podcasts, why would you not, once your podcast gets enough traffic to it, why would you not tell guests, hey, in order for you to be on my podcast, I'm going to need you to go to my apparel store and purchase one of my shirts. So that way, when we do go live, you actually have one of my shirts on, and, we're coincide with how we're matching. Ta-da! Not only that brings brand recognition to you and your business. Not to mention, it also helps you if you're an author. Hey, you don't want to buy my book? Go buy my apparel. There's so many different extending things that you guys should be adding to your business to boost your sale. That improves your brand loyalty, as well as providing the customer with education about your business. And then, attracting industry influencers. As I shared with you earlier, a lot of you have a slew of customers that should be your actual, guest on your podcast. And your first order of people that you should have is people you've done business with. I see Nancy wants to come on up here, so let me bring you up here, Nancy. Boom. And so that's one of the big things as well. And then being able to humanize your brand. I'm here to share with you guys now, hiding behind your logo, hiding behind one text or one social media post. That's not going to cut it anymore. You got to get in front of your brand, and people have to see you and see who you are, because it's now not who knows you, right? Or should I say, it's not who you know, it's who knows you at this particular point. That's what we're at within our business, is that a lot of you are hiding, and you should not be hiding whatsoever. You should be out and about showcasing your business and brand in any shape, form, or fashion. Not only that, let me help you guys out. Starting a podcast allows you also to have content. When we do our Hello Pivot Thursdays, I literally get to chop out a lot of the actual pieces that Tara, myself, or our guest says, and now that's social media content. You're even going to see some that comes out here in the next 30 minutes from last week that's already ready to rock and roll. So if you're wondering, hey, what do I post, or how can I post? I need some more content. Start a podcast. You got to post every single day, from a 20-minute conversation, a 5-minute conversation that you could chop
10, 15 seconds out.
Boom, and put it in there, right? And so when we talk about, being able to create,
and
go ahead.
If you worry about, I'm not good at editing, like Mr. Jones shared earlier, voila, the magic of Web3 is here, and you have the power of AI. And if you don't understand it, you have the Hello LLC to help you with that. Back to you, Mr. Jones.
And Tara's so spot on. It's where we get in our own way of saying, oh, I don't know how to do this. Oh, I don't know how to do that. And that is exactly why we have AI now, to be able to get over that structure, because literally there's applications out there that can listen to your podcast, and they can be able to chop it. It can be able to put the music. It can be able to outlay everything for you and give you different ideas. And we're actually going to showcase some of these features here at the end of this. I'm going to talk to ChatGPT, Omni, should I say, and be able to ask you some questions about, our actual podcast. And so some of the other things that I wanted to showcase to you guys was also being able to stand out from your competition. That realtor that has a podcast about gardening is going to be able to set themselves apart to where now they're just not talking about real estate. They're encouraging people to come and listen to their podcast about gardening. So it can be about something completely different, because guess what? Somebody else is going to want to know about gardening other than they will about real estate. So you're allowing yourself to be, a lot more beneficial. And so you guys, make sure if you want to come up, you can come up. And so that was what I had on just why a podcast would be beneficial, for some people. And what I would like to do now is to go into, some actual AI, impacts of AI, since we were talking about that. But I want to welcome you all, Julio, Marcia, Morel, Theory, over here on our actual Clubhouse side. Go ahead, love.
No worries. I was just going to say it's Julio.
Julio, I'm sorry.
That's Thank okay. You, no worries. I got you. And we want to welcome everybody over here on our LinkedIn side. We have Lady Drew. It's so good to see you. Peter, Cyrus, Elizabeth, Margaret, Caroline, Philippe, Christy, Kim, Jasmine, Jerome, Dr. Joseph, Michael, Timothy, Jennifer, April, Richard. Oh, Ere. I hope I said that with an H kind of J. Jerry, I am so sorry.
Come up here and correct us if we're
Mr.
wrong.
David. I'm gonna his
there
last.
There
we go. That's where I'm going.
There we go.
I was doing so well too.
So well.
Thanks, guys, for being here. You're more than welcome to come up on our stage, ask any questions. If you don't want to come up, you can drop a message to one of us in the back channel. We will absolutely answer any questions. If you are in the middle of a podcast and you're like, I need some confirmation on XYZ, or how do I do this? Drop it. We will absolutely answer it, because that is just who we are. We want you guys to walk away with some value and go, oh, wow, I can really put some things into work today. So,
and look who it is, Miss Roberta Pacino herself. Came
Pacino.
into our room, Miss Roberta. If you are able, I would love to have you come on up here and share your experience with your podcast this weekend. And also, we have Timothy as well that came up. But Miss Roberta, if you're available to share with the people, because you inspired today's conversation, by the way, how to monetize your podcast. What was your experience with your podcast this weekend, ma'am, in the metaverse?
It was amazing. It was so thrilling. I got a little crowd there, and I have this beautiful studio that Tara and David built for me in the metaverse. I think I don't know. I was looking at everything differently since I did that podcast. All the possibilities, how I can, who I can bring in. I don't know. I'm still kind of in awe of how awesome it was. So it was amazing to be able to talk about what I'm interested in and to explain to people what the podcast is going to be about and to talk about my art and to be in such a futuristic feeling kind of place. It was so extraordinary. It wasn't like ordinary everyday talking to people. It was, really, really, really special. So I loved it.
That's so awesome. And one of the things that I love that you shared with people is when I asked you the question about metaverse, and this has stuck with me all this weekend. You said being in the metaverse is like being in a dream with your friends. And when you said that, I literally visualized that, and that was so spot on. And, another thing that you shared with us is the simple fact is that, getting ready for your podcast, you didn't have to, get dressed. You didn't have to worry about your makeup and all that other stuff, especially being in the metaverse. You could literally be able to, jump in. And not only that, unlike a traditional podcast that we do, you really don't have guests that show up. You were able to have guests that added more content to your podcast for you then to replay as the entire podcast, because it was a podcast within a podcast at the end of the day.
That's right. So there would be a special time where it would just be one-on-one and I'd be interviewing someone, and then also being able to play that in the metaverse and have a crowd of people come and watch it in the metaverse. So yeah, it keeps on going. And then to have clips to put on social media, and there's so many ways to go with it with a podcast. It's amazing. Someone asked me like, "Oh, you're an artist. Why are you doing a podcast?" And I said, like, "Well, I have a voice, and I want people to hear it, but also it's a way for people to get to know me. Like if people are interested in your art because they know who you are, and that makes them interested. And if they've never heard of you, you're really competing with everybody. So it's multifaceted for sure."
Absolutely. So, Miss Roberta, it's Tara. I have a question for you, lovely. So, at the beginning, before we started a podcast and our many strategy sessions together, one question that you had that we were able to answer was the monetization, which is obviously what this room is about, right? And as David shared, you were the inspiration behind this, because we're like, well, if Miss Roberta has this question, we've had this question before, this is a great conversation to have. And so when we were able to get your podcast all put together and ready for showing and viewing, what was your take on being able to understand how to monetize once you saw it after the event was, we were done with the event?
Well, I think I can, just what I said, that it'll get my name out there. People will get to know me. I can get views. I can sell. Yeah, I can sell product. Is mainly what I see. Also, I would be, I'm sure, invited as a guest on other shows. So I could see. I could see that that's how I would monetize it. You have any other ideas?
Well, you're spot on. I mean, the fact that, the main part is that what you are up to in life is, as Roberta Pacino is, the artist, and you're creating your Art Pacino artworks. And one of the questions that you had was, how am I going to monetize my artwork on my podcast? And we were able to, have a featured section during this podcast that would showcase your latest mug that came out. And for all those that can, if you're in Clubhouse, David's going to drop the Miss Pacino's link above. But for all those that are here, you can go to robertapacino.io, check out her business in a box. And on there is exactly what her all her products is in Etsy. And so we were able to showcase her latest mug of the Garden Gathering, which is too cute. It is it's a rabbit and what else, Miss?
A prairie dog.
There you go. Yeah.
And a squirrel.
A squirrel. There you go. I was completely off with a rabbit.
Enjoying a meal together.
Yeah, enjoying a meal together. And so it was her being able to showcase that. Anybody was, go out there for Father's Day or any other holiday or any other occasion, or just for yourself. And so it was the ability to showcase that without Miss Roberta having to do it. That is the beauty of it. We're able to build this, all of us, build this into technology, where technology is showcasing this and sharing this, and to where you don't have to be that person that go, hey guys, go check out my latest mug on Etsy. Now that's not hard for some of us, but for others of us, we get a little fearful, and we're like, no, we don't want to do that. And so when we allow technology to be able to hold that space for us, which Miss Pacino was able to do, it's absolutely what makes it work. So, Mr. Jones, did you?
Yeah. Miss Roberta, you've been, you have our Biz in a Box. You have joined us on our Pivot membership. You have also joined us in our Hello Plaza storefront, which then also comes with your studio. If you could, share with the people how much we have been, instrumental to your business and building your business over this last, year and a half now that we've had you with us.
Oh, just so much. It's kept me going, really. I mean, joining the Pivot, that's really inspiring, because there's all kinds of new information, and you guys stay right on top of everything, like when it's happening. So you're like learning the latest and greatest information. So, that first. Then, the one-on-one conversations and everything are so inspiring. It's so helpful. Oh gosh, there's so much when I'm thinking about it now. So the Biz in the Box, which is just kind of, it has a feel of, the 21st century. I mean, the 2024 and beyond website. It's not the old kind of website. It's when people want to look fast, they want to get all the information in about a few seconds, I think. And so they can do that in the Biz in the Box. They don't have to, it's not cumbersome like a traditional website. So I love that. And I love that you offer the service of, changing it up when it needs to be changed up, and, keeping it a dynamic. So, and now, I have this idea, I want to do a podcast, and you guys are like right there, oh yeah, let's do a podcast. This is how you would do it. And you create the art for me. And yeah, you're like my best companions in business. So it's actually made it happen, I think. I think there were times that maybe I would just, I would be doing it differently for sure. So I'm very pleased, very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's been amazing to watch Miss Roberta Pacino, literally go from, no, David, I'm not doing it. I'm thinking about it, not doing it. Oh, maybe so. Okay, here we go. No, David, let's do it here. And we're here now. And I'm so glad that, this weekend you were able to showcase your entire brand. And even more importantly, compared to the traditional podcasts that we were talking about, you don't have to tell people to go to your Spotify and listen to your podcast and compete with other podcasts that are out there. You get to share with people, hey, go to my Biz in a Box and hit this link that says Kiss of Fame, and you can go into my studio and listen and watch my podcast. And while you watch it, you're also going to be able to view my art. So when we talk about monetization, Your Spotify doesn't do that at all. And to where it showcases your business visually, right? And create a completely different experience that now also you get to utilize the same room as your Zoom room. And so when people hear metaverse, it's like, metaverse, that's for those kids. If your ass is using Zoom, you should be looking as fast as possible how you can get your business into the metaverse, because 70% of consumers want and will be doing business with somebody that has a 3D immersive environment, let alone it increases your brand recognition, and hear me loud and proud, by 40%. That's a fact. Not just some jumbo mumbo David.
That's
Tara
not
saying.
David making it up.
That's not David making it up. That's a fact. And so, Miss Roberta, if you would, share with the people, about, your podcast, The Kiss of Fame, and what's it going to be about, so they can come and listen to you as well.
Kiss of Fame, I'm going to be interviewing people from all walks of life that have maybe a small success in their life, as far as just being a neighborhood store, or all the way up to people that are mega stars. And and I'll be talking to them about fame, of course, about if they're not famous, why do they want to be famous? And then as they get recognition, how do they deal with that? And what are the good things that have come of it? And then what are the things that are not so great? I think because I think people have kind of this idea that they just want to be famous, and fame isn't necessarily what we really want. It's not really the answer to everything. And I think that by talking to people about it, will kind of, for all of us, they'll kind of understand more the effects of all these influencers on our lives, and really what is it we want, and where are we going with our creativity. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm really interested in it. It's affected my life a lot, and so it gives me a chance to to talk to other people about that. Other people that have maybe famous relatives, or I've known people who were in the limelight for a short period of time, and it was like awesome, and then all of a sudden nobody knew who they were, and I want to know about that, what that feels like. And
people that were popular back in my younger days. So people like stars from Family Matters or Full House or things like that. Like now I know, look, some of you would say, oh, you're still a baby, you're still wet behind the ears. And some of you would be like, oh my gosh, she's old. But anyways, to, whatever perspective, it intrigues me to see where those stars are today and how their life turned out. Like I remember for the longest time when I discovered where Macaulay Culkin, takes me forever to get that name out. From him having Home Alone
within the
younger
space
to
of,
then when he
you
went
know,
through, the not so
entrepreneurship,
good
network
times,
marketing, and things
and
like
to
that.
see
Even
that
though
stark
David and I
difference, it was
still
just
have network
a
marketing as a
like an
portion of
eye
our
opener.
business.
And so for
We also,
you to have a
have
conversation with
Web3
people
as a portion of our
around
business,
this
where
such
it's, you know,
thing,
more of a
it will, I think,
standard,
well,
old
not
kind
I
of
think,
type
I know
business
what it's
model
going to
where
do.
it
It's
is
going
helping
to
people make that pivot.
actually
And
allow
so
people
I would love for
to
you, Casey, to
live
share a
that
little bit more
experience
about,
through your
you know,
podcast.
because you're,
And that
you know,
will
part
allow
of,
people
you
then
know,
to
your
have an
community
understanding
that
that
is
they
the
want to
Web3
form
community and
about
things
what
like
is
that.
so, you know.
Where
And
are
again,
we going
we all
as
know
not only a
nobody's
society,
journey
but
is
as
like anybody else's
business
journey.
too?
All of our
Where
journeys
are
are
we
different.
going as
So, you
we're
know,
making this
we are excited for
transition that everybody doesn't know we're in the middle of?
this. We're excited to be a part of it. And
going,
you know, we're
and
just
what are you reaching
incredibly thankful that you allowed us to help
You know, Miss
be
Patina,
able to
I'm telling you right now, it's
and
literally what you're doing right now, because everything
right
that we
now,
do as
Meeting House is
people,
up
I
in
believe
our
that
Hello
it's
Plaza.
really just for
For all
others.
those that want to
You
go
know,
out to
every blessing, every opportunity that
you
we
can
get,
literally push
if we
one
really
button and
think
drop
about it,
into
it
our
really
plaza.
does
David
actually,
says
you
it's
know,
4
manifest
pushes
itself,
of a button,
you know,
but it
for
is
other
one button that
people.
you have
You know
to
what I
push.
mean?
It'll
So
drop you
anything
right
that
in
we
here.
get,
But
anything
you
that
can
we
watch
do,
that entire
it
thing.
really
You can
is
see
what we
everybody who
do for each other
attended.
as people
You
on this
can
planet. And that's
listen
why
to Miss
the
Roberta
more that
have
we come together, as
conversations.
far as
People
with
ask
art,
questions.
you know,
Roberta
through
is able to
conversation, you know,
respond.
through
So it just
repetition,
comes down the pipeline
that's needed, that's
in the
necessary.
manner
Because like
of
Einstein said,
being
if you know you
extremely
repeat
effective.
the
We
same
go
thing
back
over
to
and
the
over,
reason one, which is the
expecting
audience of
different results,
the reason
that's
one of
insanity.
why I have a
But
podcast is the audience,
anybody that's
your
successful
global
would
reach, and
definitely
that is
tell us all
exactly
that
what
it's the
Roberta was able
repetition
to
of
do over the
successful
weekend. He's
minds
now
and
thrust this
successful
into
traits
a global
that has
market. So,
actually
Mr. Jones, do you
accomplished
want to add anything on
people
to
through
that?
No,
different
just for
journeys, through
those
the
of you
different
that are on
ventures.
our
And
LinkedIn
it's
listening to us,
exciting
I
to be
put
able to know that
Roberta's
when
business
you're going to be
box,
speaking to some
that
of
we
these
just
people, you
redesigned
know, the
for her as
successful
well. You guys can be able to go and
people
check
that
out
have
her
actually,
actual
you know,
Hello Plaza
acquired success.
storefront. Go check
It's
out her Etsy
nobody
store.
gets
Go check
success
out
just
her
because
fine
it's
wall
given to
art.
them.
She's also
Everything has to
coming out
be
with some
earned.
special
And so what
collections that you
inspires
guys can
me
be able to
is the
from her
people that
as
are
we move
actually
forward.
telling the
And this
people
is
like us, like
exactly what we
myself,
do. Is that
how
Miss Roberta
exactly
is
they did
great
it,
at the
but in such a
actual,
way that it's real to us,
her
where it's not just
artistry
trying to
and
hold
her
back as
design
far
work,
as,
but the
like, you know,
transaction is
sometimes
not
people
her cup of
know where
tea.
the water
And
well
this is the
is,
same
you know, as
thing that we
far as
share with you guys,
what's
that
going to
farmers are
actually
great
make
at
that
growing the
person
fruit. They're not
overcome
great
their
at selling the
fears,
fruit. And
overcome
those of you
their,
that are
you know, their
entrepreneurs, you're
anxiety,
great at
overcome
training,
that,
you're great at whatever
overcome those
expertise.
walls
But when it
that's
comes
going to
down to
be
the
able to get them
transaction,
over that.
that's where a lot of
Sometimes
you
they
need
may not
help
want
at.
to
And
share
that's
that out of,
exactly where we come into play,
I
where
wouldn't
we
say
can show
jealousy
you
of
with
others,
our
but
Pivot
more or less,
membership that you can get
sometimes
for
people don't want to
$7
show
a month.
their
That has
fears,
well
or
over
people don't want to
100
show
videos
their
that show you
vulnerabilities.
how to get your
But for the
Google
people like
SEO.
yourself
A
and for
lot of you
others
that
that, you know,
are
that
entrepreneurs,
do
you don't even much
openly
have a
share
Google
with
page. So if
people
somebody
out of
looks up your
passion,
business
it's
online, you don't, they
that's
can't
the
find
real
you. This is
inspiration. It's not
exactly
just
where you
about
should be sending your
motivational
clients
talks
to
or
put
things that we
reviews
hear
about your
that's just,
company,
you know, that's
then
going to
being
change things.
able to help you
You
with
know,
your YouTube, your
especially today
TikTok,
where it's like the
this, how to
conversations
do that,
sometimes
how to get your
are
E&I
frivolous, you know
number,
what I
how to
mean? But
start your
when
LLC,
there's something
learn
that
about
is going
crypto,
to be
learn about
told to a
fintech. These
person,
are things
you know,
that
as
you guys
far as
could be
like what you're
spending
going
your
to be
time
doing with this new
watching
podcast,
other than doing some of these
it's
other
for
things. And
people
look,
to
these are
listen and
five,
not
10 minutes.
only pay attention as
Yes,
far as
have a
for some of
commercial
these
going
things that
and
people are
watch,
going to be able to share that
membership.
has
Then if you want to
actually
up your
made them
scale, like
successful,
Miss Roberta
but
talked
in
about,
such a way
get away
that
from that
if
crusty,
people apply
dusty,
it to
old school
themselves,
website.
we all
Some of
could
you
do
are
something,
still
you know, because even the
utilizing a
word
website that you
impossible
had from
says
before the
I'm possible.
pandemic, after the
So that right
pandemic,
there
and you're
is
still
what motivates
utilizing it.
me. And
And it's time
my
to
question
up your
today,
game
you
and
know,
do
Miss
something
Roberta, would
different.
be
And I mean that
what you know,
with
all
all
these questions
respect.
that you're going to be
You
asking
got to
some of your
hustle,
guests
not a
in the
business.
future.
A lot of us
What
are
is
talking
some of
about
the
things
stuff
that we
that
do, but we
if
go
you
and
were
look at
kind of
your
interviewing
actual,
yourself,
what you got behind
as
the
far
scenes,
as
and you don't
what
have it.
made you
And I
to,
say this
you know, what
with
gave you that
so much
passion
respect. There was
to
this
not
guy
only
the other
explore
day that was was in a room.
to make
And
that
he was
extra effort
talking a
to
good
do something that
game,
maybe
and
you haven't done before
man, he
previously?
was talking, and
What was
it
it
was
really
good.
that got you
And just
over
like
that
anybody, they're
feeling
going
to
to go
where you
check
actually
him
made a
out.
move about that?
And I went
Thank
to
you.
go check out his
Oh, thank you so
website,
much. Thank
and
you
his
for the
Google
question.
domain wasn't even much purchased. So I couldn't even much get a hold of the guy
Well,
and say, hey, I love what you had to say.
what
What do you
made me
do? Anything of that
finally
sort. And so we have to
make
make sure
moves?
that we're not
And
only
well, I
talking
think
good, but we
one of the
look
things
good.
I
And
was
your
blessed with
website
is an
essentially
open
your
mind.
wardrobe. When you walk
And
into
I
a
nurture my
networking
own
event,
open
when you
mind
walk
to be
into a
open
store, when
to
you walk into a
new
wedding, an event,
things. And
this weekend, some of y'all went out right? Some of y'all didn't go with your dirty drawers and your busted up t-shirt. You went nice and neat.
Leading,
and some of us are showing up with dirty drawers and underwear from last year, 2 years
to
ago,
be
4
open
years
to new
ago,
things, and
wondering why
also
our business is working because you're
to
not
rest
presenting your
with
business
the
in the
fear
right
that
way,
comes up.
or let alone
By
you're
rest,
leading
I
with
mean
Calendly, you're
just
leading
let
with
it be there
Amazon
and
to buy
let
your
it
book,
turn
and you're
into
not showcasing your
inspiration
business
and
or more.
power and
You got a
energy,
link
rather than letting
that
it
I don't
drag
know if
you
I need to
down
go to
and
the bar and get
put you
drunk
back to
first
bed.
before I look at all these
So
boxes that I got to
part of the
click on and
things
have a
that
discovery
made
menu
me
on,
be able to do
and
this
all these
was
other
to
things. That this is something that we continue
search my
to share
soul,
with you
search my
guys. You got to
mind
upgrade your business. If you
when the
want some
internet
different, you
appeared
got
in
to
my
be
life. I
different
mean,
and being able
I
to really
searched and
showcase
searched
yourself in a
for
completely different way,
teachings that
as
would
we did with
teach
Miss
me
Roberta. So
how to live
this
and
is
how
where
to
we
open my
continue to
mind
ask you guys, to
and
be aware of who you surround yourself
so
with,
I
what
started
story
off
you
with
tell
that.
yourself, what standards you
Then
set,
life
what
happens, all these different
sacrifices you're
things
going to give,
happen,
what
and I got
self-disciplines
to
you're going to put into
to
place to have a
becoming a
conversation with
grandmother,
yourself. So
and it was
I see
like
we got Miss Lady Drew up here. Timothy is up here.
all
I
that
got to give a
stuff,
huge
everything
shout
that I
out to Miss
did,
Lady Drew.
it
Lady Drew
serves me now.
always is
So
sharing
yeah, it all just kind of
people's
came together,
content and
and
their
I'm brave.
actual, what they have going,
I
no matter
admire
what.
people
And
who
so
are
I
brave,
definitely have to thank
and
you
I
for doing that.
emulate
And
that.
that's what I
That's what
consistently
I
share
want
with
to
you
be
guys
brave.
all.
So
Is we got to
that's
be able to support
Did
one
that
another.
answer the question?
Yes, on
Awesome.
LinkedIn, when you like somebody else's
I
post,
tried.
Yeah.
it's going to
You
show
did,
that
Mr.
you
Pacino.
liked
Thank you so much
that
for that.
post. Yes, when you go and
Yeah, thank you
repost it.
so much for
Why
being,
not is the better
you
question, because then
thank you so
you're not
much
in
for
these rooms
showing up.
talking about you
It
collaborating
means a lot
and
to
you're
me.
not
I
liking
appreciate you being
nobody's
here.
post. You're not commenting on nobody's post. And yet there we are again. You wonder why your
Does
business
anybody else
isn't
have
growing
questions?
because you aren't liking
Somebody
and
ask me
commenting
something.
and posting on.
Hi,
Gil, did you have
it's
stuff?
Cleo.
You want to grow your business? Start giving
Cleo.
what you want. And
I don't really
promise
have
you,
a question.
your business will
I just
excel
wanted
tenfold,
to just
and let
express
alone stop
how
waiting
excited
until
I
we
am for
actually,
you and your
stop waiting
podcast.
to get
I
love.
heard
A lot
you,
of people
talking
ask
about
about,
it
hey, how
in
do I get
rooms
more followers?
before,
Hey,
and
how
then
do
to
I get
see
more
it
views?
now
My
and see it
question
come
to
to
you is,
fruition is
how many people's shit are
amazing.
you
So
watching?
I'm
How
super
many
excited
people's
for
are
you
you
and what's to come.
commenting
Can't
on?
wait to
How
see
many
it. Keep
people's
doing
posts
what
you
you're
just
doing.
passing
You're
over,
amazing.
knowing that you know
Yeah,
them,
thank you
and
so
you're like,
much.
oh,
I feel the
whatever.
same way
And
about
you get in the
you.
room with them. Oh,
I love
David,
to watch
Clara,
your
I
rooms.
absolutely love you guys. You
Thank
guys are
you.
my favorite. Or you go to that family picnic and your cousin, your uncle,
So
or your
I got a
brother
question
say,
for you, Miss
oh, I
Roberta.
love you. I love your
What
post. I
would
see your
be
little
one of
post.
the most
Your ass
significant
sure ain't hitting the
challenges
like
that you
button.
faced
You don't like it
in
that
your
much if you're
career,
not supporting.
We have to
that
do
you
a room on
overcame
digital
that you want to
currency
share
and
with
what
people?
the understanding of digital currency is, because we have all experienced it, and what David was
Well,
sharing is that Lady did extremely well at
I think I felt like
digital currency, and that is just
not
it's
deserving
taught.
at
We are
some
not
point
taught
of
this.
not
We are
being
not
good
innately
enough,
taught to be.
not
We are taught to
that
be in survival, and
I
so
wasn't
a lot of times people are
perfect
within the
enough to
realms of
go
I don't
out
want
and
to
try
share,
to
I don't
do
want to support, I don't
something.
want to help. And
That
what,
was a
like I was
huge
sharing at
one
the
to
beginning of this, is
overcome.
that we've
I
shifted
realized at some point
times,
that
and we are in a
I
new
was
time now where
perfect just the
people
way
are
I
wanting to
was,
support other
just
people
the
who
way
are
I
actually
am.
supporting others, who
We
are
all
doing good,
are.
who have a good
And,
heart,
and
and are in
to,
a good
spring
place of
off
wanting
from
to
that
be as a community and
is
not just
amazing.
solely,
And that
yes,
it's
it's going to
very, very
benefit them,
powerful. So
but it is a
constant, I
benefit
think
of
that to
everybody.
constantly
Tide rises,
start,
all boats rise. So
constantly be
we're going to go ahead
working
and
on
pass this
trying
mic
to
around real quick
improve
because we have Timothy and Lady
a
Drew up
self
here,
that
and I'm going to
doesn't
let
need to be improved.
Lady Drew come on down. What you
Take
got?
your life. I've seen that happen to so many people where they just spend their whole life.
Hold on. 1 second.
Miserable.
I got to
trying
unmute on my side.
to be somebody they're not. And so I learned that somehow I was gifted with that. And as soon as I realized that I didn't have to take all the energy of my life and spend it trying to change who I was, then I embraced who I was. So that was it.
Everyone in my prayers.
Or people don't do it on LinkedIn.
I don't.
To utilize those and to be able to utilize TikTok as we move forward, and then even taking some of those onto this platform. You know, we've been sharing, we've been, you know, taking some of our posts. I actually had one today that I was going to put on LinkedIn. I was like, ooh, maybe not that one. Uh, but you know, being able to share these
Instagram, yes.
Yeah.
Or LinkedIn, no.
And look, guys, in our Pivot membership, we introduce an AI tool that allows you to be able to post on all these different platforms. And when you see us posting on LinkedIn, that post has went to LinkedIn, it's went to Instagram, it's went to Instagram story, it's went to our Facebook, It's went to our Twitter, X. It's went to our Pinterest. It's went to our Google SEO,
YouTube.
and it's went to our YouTube all in once. And so these are some of the AI tools that we share with our actual, pivot members, to where you guys can stop being the janitors in your business and you can be the president of your business, especially with us utilizing social media. A lot of us that are more experienced and have been having our business, we're accustomed to using these emails. We're accustomed to utilizing these blogs, and we've really been falling short on utilizing social media for branding and meeting people for our business. And this is one of the biggest things. I shared this with Miss Roberta. Miss Roberta, I know she hears this in her ears all the time. Stop worrying about people following you. Stop worrying about the impressions. People are watching you. Prime example, the other day we put a post out on Sunday and I misspelled the word common. I put an O instead of E at the end. This person had the nerve to sit there and send me a message in the back channel to let me know of my mess up, but hasn't liked, hasn't commented on none of our posts or shared none of our posts, but had something negative to correct us on. So please believe people are watching your ass, and you need to be giving them a show to watch, which is why you separate your business from your personal life, where you can post the grandkids, you can post the weekend life, have that separate. But when it comes down to business, post about your business, showcase your business, because people that don't know about your business are the people that you're worried about, other than the people that do know about our business. And if they have known about your business and they haven't done business with you yet, they're not going to do business with you. And so many times we worry about those people that allow us that,
up here later. You know, one of the pillars of sales, and a lot of times people don't understand that building that trust. When people trust is what was it, over 70% of people as consumers, they want trust between you and that other person, whether it's a brand or a business or a small business. And like Lady Drew said, you have to get out there and share who you are. And it needs right now, you need to do that across all platforms. That's why we share with you guys tools that will be able to help you do that. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the importance of being able, look, we used to not be on Twitter, or X as they call it now. And every Wednesday when we do our room in here, which is usually a little more about cryptocurrency, blockchain, fintech, because that's Wednesday is the day that I'm running the bulk of the information. We get a lot of people from X spaces that listen. And 8 years ago, Dave and I are like, oh no, we don't need to be on X. Nobody's over there. We don't like it. And we went to a personal development weekend, which was, listening to a bunch of these top leaders within the business industry share, like Ed Milet's and people like that, right? Shaq was one of the speakers as well. You learn from the point of, and I think it was Ed Milet that actually made this point, or it might have been Gary Vee that weekend. But anyways, the point is get on all of the platforms. Even though you don't like it, it doesn't mean that your audience isn't over there, because some people might only know how to use Facebook or LinkedIn or X or YouTube or Twitch. They might not know how to utilize any other platform, and they can only find your information, or they can only contact you through that platform. So the importance of being everywhere is highly critical. And we, Timothy up here asking this question about how does he monetize, his technical skills that he's doing for his position on an everyday basis, is to be able to, like Lady Drew said, build community trust. And the way he does that is to show up and say, hey guys, this is a skill right today that I take for granted, that I do every day. And this might be super helpful. Become Tim the Toolman Taylor. How many of y'all remember that show from the 90s of Tool Time or whatever it was? What was it? The Tim the Toolman Taylor? Home Improvement. Thank you. I had every other name but the right one. But how many be him. Be the neighbor that is like, you know what? I need to go out to Timothy's page, because he has a plethora of resources of how to do some DIY things that, are not on my, greatest list. My brother cracks me up because, he never went to college. He is of course I'm a little biased, but he is brilliant. He has got an extreme engineer mindset. He owns his own business, ran his own business for the past 35, almost 35, 40 years. He is incredibly, talented at what he does and how he does it. And I always ask him, I'm like, well, he didn't grow up in the age of YouTube. I grew up in the age of, having Nintendo, but not YouTube. But it's called YouTube University. And he's like, I go out to YouTube and learn that. And that's exactly what David and I did within our Pivot membership, is that we curated what would be like a YouTube University, to where it was geared towards marketing and monetization of your brand, building your systems. I was going to say that to Timothy before he had to jump out of here, it is so important. Like, yes, you want this monetization. You want to be able to understand how you can serve your community and how they can, come back and support you. But like David always asks, if all of a sudden you posted a video and it went viral and got 1 million views and people got intrigued by what you dropped and they want to go check out more, what system and structure do you have in place? And so where are you sending these people? Where are you showcasing what you can? Because that's exactly what Lady Drew was just talking about, is when you go build this trust out here in the, the general public of the world, because now we're a global society. When you start building that trust, you don't have to self-promote yourself. You don't have to say, well, I do this. And because what happens is, all of a sudden, I built trust with David. David Jones is like, man, I want to know more about what Tara does, because, every time we show up into a conversation, she's, providing value. She's providing, hey, just, heads up, you might want to try this or might not want to try this, bringing this value packed knowledge to the forefront. What is she up to? Because here's why. When there's trust built, like Lady Drew was sharing with us, it becomes the fact of, well, and let me say it this way. Depending on how much knowledge and volume and value your guys are bringing to the forefront for free up front, having rooms like this, Timothy on his page where he's showcasing his skill set for free, all of this value that you're giving, people stop, because that's a trust building mechanism right there. People will stop and they will go, well, holy mackerel, if they're sharing this much value, or Timothy's giving this much value, what is his paid services like? Because if they see how much value you're packing into the free that you're just giving as the goodness of your heart for other people to do what they need to do in this world, then people automatically, it is a human mechanism that is built into us. We go, well, how can I help them? And what are they up to? And how much more? Wow, they gave me all of this. What more am I going to get if I actually paid for a service? And so it comes down to understanding that when you provide that value, like Timothy was sharing, I have this value I'm providing. First of all, get onto all channels. And second of all, make sure you have the structure system in the background, so people will come in and be able to say, hey, this is where you can follow me, support me. You can go out to my Kiss of Fame podcast. This is where you can go check my Etsy shop. This is where you can go check my apparel store. This is where you can go buy my masterclass or my digital book that I've created that will help you, the guide that helped me get to 6 figures, or whatever it is that you are showcasing and being able to monetize from. When you give that value, people want to give it back. What you got, Lady Drew? 1 second. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I got to take you off mute. Here we go.
I just want to get started with, make sure you keep it. People will
Absolutely. Sorry, guys, we have this thing that's called technology, and we have to mute one computer and unmute the other computer in order to do that.
Yeah, you try to be on 8 different platforms,
we
and
have
let's see how you work with
We have 3 laptops, 4 phones up, 5 phones up, 4 phones up.
We're everywhere.
3 speakers and 2 microphones. Come on up, just Jasmine. What you got? Hold on just a second. We'll bring you on up here so you can jump in that. But Lady Drew, positively, lootly. It is that trust factor. And then when you come down the pipeline later on with something like Miss Roberta was sharing earlier, she says one of the reasons why she loves being a part of our community, whatever aspect she's in, is that we're always on top of the first, latest developments of Web3 and sharing that. And because of what we've been able to track record, we've been able to build with her through our service and helping her, is been able to her to say, you know what, I trust this company as a brand, as two individuals, of being able to actually give me positive information. And guess what? We will always tell you all, if we don't know, or we haven't tried it ourselves, or we don't have any clue about that subject, we're not giving you any information, because we will just tell you, we don't know.
Or we're going to find out together.
Or we're going to go find out together, because we don't want to lead people astray. That is the biggest thing that we all hate it. So why do it?
And the sad thing about it is this is what stops us from doing business with other businesses, because there are businesses out there that are doing dirty. And us as entrepreneurs, we have to hold that totem pole to do business the right way, which is why we share with people love, kindness, integrity. What we say is what we will do, and how it will get done is how you want it to be done. And it's not no back and forth stuff. And there's been so many times we've had clients come to us that, literally just not too long ago, we actually discounted our prices to make up for somebody else's businesses.
Yeah, there's another business that did not do client proper.
We literally took that money and said, no, what? Forget about that. We'll just deduct it from our price and let's get you rocking and rolling, because we want more for you than from you. Especially when we talk about, utilizing and implementing these new strategies, and not these outdated strategies that a lot of these people are out here sharing with you and showcasing to you. And I'm not going to call out any names, but look, I'm here to share with you. You got to get your business out more than just LinkedIn. If you are selling children's book, you should not be just doing audio, rooms in LinkedIn. Kids aren't on LinkedIn, just number one. You should be on TikTok. You should be on Instagram. You should be on Twitter.
YouTube Kids.
Right now, we're on Twitch, okay? Some of you might not even have no clue what that is, but we got more people watching over there, than all the other channels right now. And so this is where we are literally pushing buttons and figuring this out. And Miss Roberta can tell you all the time, that's what we say, push buttons, because there's this great new thing that you might not have heard about. It's called the delete button. And you can delete it and it will be gone, and nobody's going to call you or text you or cuss you out, be like, girl, you did this. Girl,
and if they do, send them to Hello LLC.
And you're not going to have to worry about that. And so this is where we want you guys all to understand. You're not pressing buttons to any nuclear codes or anything of that sort. So Miss Jasmine, we'd love to hear what you have to share with this talk.
Well, you're very welcome. Oh, sorry, guys. You're very welcome, Miss Jasmine. Thank you so much for jumping up here and just sharing that, and being able to, give us a pat on the back, because we appreciate that.
Thank you, Lady Drew.
Yes, and thank you, Lady Drew, for sharing, because it really does come down to that, and being able to just support as a community. And so, yeah. With that said, Mr. Jones, I know you probably got a little bit of more information that you want to share with these beautiful people. Look, guys, we are a plethora of information, and we share this from a point of being able to what we've done in our podcast and being able to help others. So take it away, Mr. Jones.
So what I want to do is, I know earlier I butchered, and I ain't afraid to say it, I butchered when I was sharing with you guys the difference between business model, revenue model, and marketing strategy model. So let me clarify it, and then we're going to ask Chat GPT 4 to even some more questions about podcasts, because this is where we share with you guys, you no longer have to be the smartest one in the room. No longer do you have to worry about prompts and what do I say, how do I say to AI. You now can talk it out. So we're going to chat about that. But first of all, when we talk about business model Business model describes how your company creates, delivers, and captures value. Okay. It outlines, how your organization operates, including the target audience, right? Your customers, your value proposition, the actual customer relationships, the revenue streams and key resources and key activities and partnerships and cost structures. That is your business model. Your revenue model is the methods a business uses to generate income. The detailed sources of revenue, including various streams like sales, subscriptions, advertisements, licensing, transaction, and the price strategy for those streams. And then there's the marketing strategy. The marketing strategy is a model framework that outlines an approach of businesses that take to reach its target audience, promotes its products or services, and achieves competitive advantages. This includes analysis of market target, market selection, positioning, market mix, price, place, promotion, and tactics to attract and retain customers, right? And so that, my friends, is the difference between the three. And we sometimes confuse those with the branding. And a lot of the times when we do talk about branding, people get sales confused with branding. You have to brand your business before you can sell. And a lot of the times people start their business and they're just straight to selling and they're not branding, which is why we showcase to you how is your branding when you aren't around. When people go and check out your website, just like right now, those of you that are on Clubhouse, you go and tap on my face. Those of you that are on LinkedIn, you go tap on my face. Literally, all you get is what job I've worked at, what we've done, some of our posts. That's it. Some of you just have your calendar in there. Some of you have this old crusty dusty website that has more writing on it and reading on it with little pictures and interactivity, right? Where you should make it to where you now have 3 clicks to where people should be able to get all your information, what you're doing, how you're doing, and to be able to purchase without you. And this is where we showcase to you guys all that you got to be able to strategically plan these things out, especially on all these different platforms. And so with that being said, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope, not on that subject. I did have something to add, but not on that subject.
You
So,
sure?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so
yeah,
here we
you
go.
can continue.
We're going to ask. We're going to get Chat GPT out here. Here we go. Hey, Chat GPT, how you doing today?
Definitions model. A business model explains how a company.
That's how she's doing today.
She's listening too much.
Restart.
Hey, Chat GPT, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? Anything exciting going on today?
Yeah. So I would love for you to share with us 10 reasons why a business or an entrepreneur should have a podcast, and give some case studies as well, if you could, and then explain it as if you're explaining it to a 5th grader.
Sure thing. Here are 10 reasons why a business or an entrepreneur should have a podcast. Explained simply. 1, reach more people. A podcast can help you talk to people all around the world who might be interested in what you do. 2, show your expertise. By talking about what you know, you can show people that you're really good at what you do. 3, build a connection. People can hear your voice and get to know you better, which can make them trust you more. 4, easy to access. People can listen to podcasts while doing other things like driving or cooking. 5, stay top of mind. Regular episodes keep you in your listeners' thoughts. 6, create content easily. It's sometimes easier to talk about a topic than to write about it. 7, invite interesting guests. You can invite other experts to your show, which can attract their audience to you. 8, improve your speaking skills. The more you talk, the better you get at it. 9, stand out from competitors. If your competitors don't have a podcast, it gives you a unique way to reach customers. 10, monetize your podcast. You can make money through ads, sponsorships, or selling your products. Case studies. Pat Flynn and Smart Passive Income. Pat Flynn started his podcast to share tips about making money online. He grew a large audience, became an authority in his field, and now makes a lot of money from his podcast and other projects. 2, Guy Raz and How I Built This. Guy Raz interviews successful entrepreneurs about how they started their businesses. His podcast has become incredibly popular, helping listeners learn and get inspired by real stories. 3, Amy Porterfield and Online Marketing Made Easy. Amy Porterfield's podcast gives advice on online marketing. She built a strong following and used the podcast to promote her online courses, which have become very successful. So, having a podcast can help you reach more people, show them you're an expert, and even make some money. Plus, it's a fun way to share what you know.
I love it. I love it. So, why would you, if you have somebody that says, no, I don't want to start my podcast. Oh my God, I'm scared. I'm fearful of what other people are going to say. What are 3 tips that you could help someone start their podcast and get over those fears?
I'm glad you loved it. Here are 3 tips to help someone overcome their fears and start their podcast. 1, start small and practice. Begin by recording a few episodes just for yourself. This will help you get comfortable with speaking and using the equipment without any pressure. Think of it as practicing before playing a big game. 2, focus on your passion. Talk about something you love and are excited about. When you're passionate about the topic, it's easier to forget about what others might think. Your enthusiasm will shine through, and listeners will feel it too. 3, remember your purpose. Keep in mind why you're doing the podcast. Whether it's to share your knowledge, help others, or grow your business, focusing on your goal can help you push past the fear. Think about the people you can help and inspire with your podcast. Starting anything new can be scary, but remember, every great podcaster once felt the same way.
So, if you could give me 5 ways that AI could help out someone with their podcast.
Absolutely. Here are 5 ways AI can help someone with their podcast. 1, transcription services. AI can automatically transcribe your podcast episodes, making it easier to create show notes, blog posts, or subtitles for your episodes. This saves time and makes your content more accessible. 2, editing assistance. AI tools can help with editing your podcast by automatically removing background noise, leveling audio, and cutting out long pauses or filler words like and This makes the editing process quicker and smoother. 3, content suggestions. AI can analyze trending topics and suggest relevant content ideas for your podcast. This helps you stay current and ensures your topics resonate with your audience. 4, voice enhancement. AI can enhance the quality of your voice recordings, making your episodes sound more professional. It can improve clarity and add effects to make your voice sound more engaging. 5, marketing and distribution. AI can help identify the best times to post your podcast episodes and suggest keywords or hashtags to use for better visibility. It can also assist in creating promotional materials like social media posts and ads tailored to your audience. Using AI can make podcasting easier and more efficient, allowing you to focus on creating great content.
I love it. I love it. And so, if you could also share with me, how can the metaverse help out a podcaster with their audience and increase their actual podcast views and just business in itself? Can you give me 5 reasons why the metaverse would be a benefit for podcasters?
I'm glad you love it. Here are 5 reasons why the metaverse can benefit podcasters. 1, interactive experiences. In the metaverse, you can create immersive, interactive experiences for your audience. Listeners can attend live recordings in a virtual studio, participate in Q&A sessions, or explore virtual environments related to your podcast topics, making the experience more engaging and memorable. 2, virtual communities. You can build a strong community by creating virtual spaces where your listeners can interact with you and each other. These spaces can host discussions, events, and fan meetups, fostering a sense of belonging and loyalty among your audience. 3, enhanced monetization. The metaverse offers new ways to monetize your podcast. You can sell virtual merchandise, offer premium content or experiences, and even create virtual events or workshops that listeners can pay to attend, diversifying your income streams. 4, broadened audience reach. By being present in the metaverse, you can reach new audiences who are already exploring virtual worlds. This can help you attract tech-savvy listeners and expand your audience beyond traditional podcast platforms. 5. Collaborative opportunities. The metaverse provides opportunities for collaboration with other podcasters, brands, and influencers. You can co-host events, participate in virtual panels, or feature guest appearances, which can help you cross-promote and grow your listener base. Embracing the metaverse can open up new possibilities for podcasters, making their content more engaging and accessible while offering innovative ways to connect with and grow their audience.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. And so that right there alone, guys, is just some of the reasons, why to utilize AI, why to implement, metaverse. And then even more importantly, the other day I was in a room or should I just say just in general, we have to be careful who we listen to about AI and what knowledge they know about AI, because a lot of the times people are confusing AI with so many other things, and let alone they're not implementing AI in their business, and they're only referring to Chat GPT as AI, not knowing that there are multiple different AI tools that can help you on all rims of your business. Within our business, we use at least 30 plus AI tools when it comes to, saving ourselves time. And time is our only competition. And so I share this with you guys because you guys also can go to our Biz in a Box, to where at the very, very bottom, we have an AI guide, right, that has over 30 AI tools that you can be able to implement. Especially if you're utilizing that old crusty dusty Zoom, you can have an AI listen to your conversation in the background and transcript it. Especially those of you that are implementing, presentations, there's a great AI tool, and I'm giving you knowledge right now, called Gemini, that literally you can give it a concept and it will go and build a whole entire presentation for you better than you can on any PowerPoint whatsoever. It'll blow the images, it'll do everything for you, and really just blow your PowerPoint out of the water. And so definitely go take advantage of that AI tool. There's another tool out there where, the holidays are coming up. Some of you are going over, 4th of July, and you're going to be pulling out that old scrap, yearbook or what your grandma got. And those pictures are old and crusty and dusty. You can put those pictures in an AI and enhance them. And now you can have, your actual family book digitized and not at grandma's house. And so there's so many ways that we could be implementing AI into our business life, our personal life, even our relationships. A lot of us have traumas. A lot of us have dramas. A lot of us, those then create patterns and programs that we respond in the same way. Instead of you lashing out or responding back in a text message or responding back in any way, go to Gemini that you literally can go and talk to. And you can ask it and give it information, not personal, however personal you want to get, and ask it to give you some responses, or type out and text back that you want to get these points across. Because sometimes you're not maybe communicating it effectively and you're just rashing out on people and they're not getting the concept of it. I'll be one to say I used to do that. Look, me and Tara used to get in a lot of arguments, and I would use it, right, to help my ass out, because obviously I wasn't doing something right. And so if we don't want to go talk to a psychologist, if we don't want to go talk to our friends, or we don't want to go talk to our family because they're going to bring it back in our face later on and use it, we now have these AI tools that we can implement and use, and we're not using them, and we're sticking to these old traditional ways. And I share with people, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and it takes you to change. You can go download that AI app and download them all and revert back to doing the same old things. And that's where it comes down to the rubber meets the road. Are you going to continue to walk, or are you going to continue to get in this Ferrari that can take you a whole lot faster and a whole lot further and a whole lot easier than you walking? And so that's some of the things that we definitely wanted to bring to you guys' attention as we're on here. Miss or Monet, I know you came on stage. Sorry, I just now saw your message. Would you like to ask a question about podcast, or about what the question that you put in the chat? Would you like to share that with us all and ask away?
Yes.
Go ahead.
How are y'all doing today?
Amazing. How are you?
I'm doing amazing as well. My question was, do you work with teenagers?
Absolutely, we do. Especially on the topic, whatever it is, building their podcast, whatever. You can join our Pivot membership. Like I said, that starts out at $7 a month, where you get access into that. I was just sharing this the other day. For $27 a month, you can get a 30-minute consultation with myself or Tara. We also can do some events in our Hello Plaza. You'll also get access to some of our other things. And like Miss Roberta, she's one of our Pivot VIP members, where we actually do content for her. We're also doing her a podcast for her as well. And we're able to do these things, not just, talk about them, but our memberships have different levels. So absolutely, if you would like, I'll put it in the chat for you, where you can learn more about our Pivot membership, right? So you can take a look at. And with it being kids, you and your kids will be able to have access to it both. And I'll even put it up here at the top for you guys to be able to look at as well. Did you have any other questions?
No, that's you answered it all. I've been listening, so I got a lot of good information. I just wanted to know, if you work with teens, because then, of course, that's the route that I would like to utilize the service, because I like the way you're going. you and Miss Tara and everybody else here. So it was great information.
Yeah, absolutely. The most important thing, I would encourage you guys all, right? As we've been in this room, I would encourage you, if you've been thinking about a podcast, stop thinking. Press the damn button, go to your app store right now, download Spotify, Anchor, and start building out your platform. Put a picture, put a little bio, and press the button and do a podcast, because it's not that hard. Especially those of you that do your own rooms or have talked in rooms, it's no different. It's even a whole lot easier, as you heard ChatGPT earlier talk about. Just do some test runs. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. Hell, it could be 1 minute. I don't care what you do, but do something to get your word out there and get your voice out there, especially with, being able to implement it in metaverse, as Miss Roberta Pacino has done. She's now able to say, hey, nope, you ain't got to go to Spotify to listen to my stuff at all. But if you want to go to the old school, crusty, dusty Spotify, knock yourself out. But what you can do is hit my link in my biz in a box that you can drop straight into my metaverse studio. Not only can you watch the recording of my actual podcast, but you can learn about the rest of my business. You also can go and check out my art gallery as well. And you've now experiencing something completely different, and it's nowhere near as hard as we're making it out to be. Right. And so I see we have Miss Marilyn up here as well. What Empowering Minds? I see you off the phone, ma'am. I don't know if you're in listening mode or not. Let me check this back channel. But if you would like to share with us how you're doing, what you're doing, especially the things you have going, ma'am, the floor is yours. Go right ahead if you're available.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Miss Tora. How you doing, Mr. David? Thank you for having me. I am amazing too, because I'm down to the last 3 days of school, so I feel good about that. I like the topic today. I came in at the middle of it, but of course I like the topic. This is definitely a place to be, to learn more about how to push the buttons, how to have reference of pushing those buttons. So I just want to say, go for it, because I know I'm going for it. I'm going to go back in my membership, and I want push those buttons and see how much I can pick up. Even though, friends, I have David and Tora to really walk me through, because sometimes I'm one of those ones get very frustrated when it comes to technology. So I have to have some kind of assistant, and that's why I like being in this membership, because it helps me along the way. It break it down into ABC style. And it take the stress off of me. So this is a great place to be, a great place to grow. I am Merlin. I am Empowering Minds. I'm here to mentor you into early education when it comes to your business, professional growth, program improvement, and just have fun this summer with my grandkids. We on our way to North Carolina and have fun. So check out my Biz in a Box and more to come. I am gonna do a training in metaverse real soon. I have to talk with David and Tora. But again, thank you, David and Tora.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know, you definitely over here in the Clubhouse side, and I'll put it in the LinkedIn side as well, where you guys can go and check out Miss Marilyn Holloway's amazing Biz in a Box, where she is early child care education and consulting, to where, as you just heard her, this is where she's going to be able to help out not only these children, but also, you know, these educators in metaverse, to now she's able to take her business globally. And this is something that I share with people. We share with people that utilizing the metaverse allows you to expand your business globally. Utilizing this AI, you can take your business and you can now translate it into different languages without you having to know the language. Not only that, in our Pivot membership, those of you that have done lives in Facebook, you should probably take that live and turn that into a podcast. And in our Pivot membership, we share with you how you can literally take that video off of Facebook and then put it onto different platforms, because we understand some people have abundance amount of information on Facebook, but now they understand, oh, I now got to put this on LinkedIn. Oh, now I got to put this on TikTok. Oh, now I need to put this on X's, but it's all on Facebook. How can I pull some of that content? We show you exactly how you can pull that and reutilize that. And that's even more importantly why the metaverse is important, because now you get to showcase all of these things. Like with Miss Marilyn, as we move forward, we're going to be able to take her early child care education. We're going to build out a membership platform to where not only people can come and get her amazing information on 2D, but they also can come in her metaverse world where they can watch these videos and learn this information. She's going to be able to take her webinars away from Zoom, the crusty dusty webinar, and then have her experiences in metaverse, to where it's a 50% increase engagement moving from Zoom to metaverse. And that's not a stat or a fact that I just made up out of the blue. That is a fact. 50% more engagement utilizing the metaverse compared to the Zoom. And so this is continuously where we are staying ahead of the curve and helping you guys out make that transition and pivot. And especially with Miss Marilyn being one of our Pivot VIP members, she gets to sit back and say, hey, Tara, David, do this. Just like the other day, her amazing helped me build out this GoFundMe and all these other stuff that I need. Sit back, we got you covered. And then it went all in her Biz in a Box, to where now she's able to say, hey, just go to my Biz in a Box, learn about my business, learn about this, learn about that, and boom, here it is, right? And so that's what we got.
Yeah, absolutely, Miss Marilyn. Thank you so much for, the love, the support, and allowing us to help you with that, on that end. So, we appreciate you guys. Go out there and check out Miss Marilyn at empoweringminds.io for all those that don't have a link above your head, i.e. LinkedIn. So I love that. But you know what? There was a question that I wanted to answer.
Yeah.
It was Lady Drew asked earlier, what our thoughts are about TikTok, just kind of with
girl, we just on the same page.
Look at that,
with
girl. With the negativity that's been surrounding it. So, I know that the negativity that has been published within the large mass media outlets has shown TikTok in an unfavorable light, and to, really kind of tear it down in the sense of, with the band and everything, with the band that they are, have been successful with. Here's my thoughts. These are only my thoughts. You can take them and rub them together like two wooden nickels. Whatever you want to do. But I'll probably get canceled for this. But here you go.
No, you won't.
You guys probably won't cancel me, but the others probably will. But they want you to not. This is a smear campaign. So we're in an election season right now. We know all about smear campaigns where they're trying to trash the other person or trash the other candidate, blah, blah, blah. That's not what this conversation is about, but I wanted to use that example because it is a smear campaign to smear TikTok. Now, why do I think that? Well, because TikTok is not fully, now, yes, they want to tell us that TikTok is based out of China and is owned by China. That is a lie. That is all lie. You can Google it right now. You can DuckDuckGo it. You can don't ask your neighbor because they probably don't know, but it is a lie. TikTok is actually owned by a gentleman who is of Chinese descent. He is one of the owners. He is not the main. He is not just the only owner. He is of Chinese descent, but he has lived his life in Singapore. So he actually is a citizen of Singapore. I'm sorry, not of Singapore, but he's lived there. So he is a citizen of that country. Excuse me. Let me get that out correctly. So of Malaysia. The other side of that is there are a handful of U.S. companies that have joint partnership ownership in TikTok. So when they tell you that TikTok is, because of they're sharing our data to China, I want to preface this why I'm saying I'm going to get canceled. The social media app that begins with a face and ends with a BOOK, that is also known as META. I have to spell these things out now so we don't get canceled. They sell our information to CHINA. So it is really important for us to know the facts of what is going on. Why do they want to get rid of TT, i.e. TikTok? Is because at the end of the day, there is not censorship like there is on the book face, as I heard somebody call it one time, and I thought it was too cute. There is not censorship like on the book face. There is censorship. I'm not saying there's none, but it is limited. And they're starting to crack down because basically we as people have been starting to have investigative journalism move over to TikTok that has been exposing a lot of BS. And so it is very, very important for us to know not to believe the mass media and what they're giving to us. It is important for us to go get our own information. This is why TikTok is actually creating a new application that is where they are going to be able to move everybody over to it, and it will meet the quote unquote guidelines that the US government said that this one did not meet, this application did not meet. And let me also say this, the owner of the book face, that person is actually the person, and as well as the owner of Amazon. They are the two people that are funding and what is the word when you have
campaigning?
Thank you. They are the ones who are behind this when they are pushing our legislation and our representatives to stand up against this and to ban it. And so it is very, very important for us to do our own thinking. We have to turn the TV off. I'm going to be 100. It's tell a vision for a reason. It is going to tell you a vision, and it is the vision they want to tell you, and that is what causes a lot of the divisiveness in our country, whether it's racial based, political based, religious based, stay at home or work based, entrepreneur versus an employer base. It is so much division that has been sown because the further we are divided, the greater we fall. We already know that. And so what TikTok has done is allowed us to come together and to be able to share information like Lady Drew shared earlier that says we have to come to the community, we have to share what we're up to. And there's been so many people that come out and say, hey, 1 plus 1 is not equaling 2. I don't know if this is what's so, and then somebody else who has a little more experience or might know a little bit more or have connections in that area, they dive in and they go, holy sheep snozzles, you're right. We have a whole massive thing to showcase here. And so I want to say that my opinion is that the negativity that is based around the little clock application, TikTok, is the simple fact that they want that planted. They want you to be not a fan of it, because TikTok is the only application right now that is allowing creators to actually monetize in a healthy way. YouTube is starting to, but I'm going to tell you, the Bookface and the IG and that whole family is not. And they are, as David shared earlier, where they're going to start making you pay so your content can be seen. Well, I want to flip this on the head.
That blue check mark was just the beginning.
Exactly. I want to flip this on the head and make this, a little bit personal for you. They're monetizing your eyeballs. They're making the money off of it, and you don't get diddly squat as the consumer for scrolling through Instagram. Tell me how many of you are going to now scroll through Instagram knowing that they're now going to limit creators, say Tara or David or Lady Drew or Sandra or Jasmine or anybody else, Marilyn, Roberta, anybody else up here who's creating content, and they're going to say, you got to pay $20 for this ad or this post to get out there. And all of a sudden, Lady Drew sitting down here going, well, hold the horses. You're telling me that now you're telling, David Jones and Tara Bush, the creators of Hello LLC, that they got to pay that. And that means I don't get to see their content unless they pay that. That means you're making money off of my eyeballs, of what my eyeballs can see. No. And that's what we don't realize as consumers and creators on these social media apps, which is why Web3 is so important. And this is why tomorrow I will jump in a little deeper about the curious crypto, but I'm going to take it into the whole Web3 entirety of understanding why us having digital identities is highly important to be able to own our own content and stop allowing these social media platforms to monetize our eyeballs and our content, why they make all the money and we get diddly shit. Period.
And not only that, I'll add to that is that another reason why their Amazon and Facebook is going after TikTok is also because of the shop. TikTok is now taking away some of their profits by people being able to sell on TikTok and not on there.
Yes, sir.
And I always share this: power will never relinquish power. And this is no different than a company trying to outdo or trying to take out another company because it's competition.
Yep.
And so this is part of that. So, Lady Drew, hopefully that answered your question. And please feel free if anybody else has any questions. And I also see we have somebody else up here also that wants to share also.
So
of it. And this is where I share with people. First of all, we have to know what metaverse is. And a lot of people don't. Only 16% of people know what the metaverse is in full. When we talk about the metaverse, I want everybody to understand that this isn't a, oh, I think, oh, I don't like, oh, this, that, and the other. This is where we're going. After 2 comes 3. We're moving from this flat 2D screen to this 3D immersive environment to where the metaverse is the internet 3, to where the metaverse allows us to be able to interact and be able to communicate and really be able to enhance our engagement. And this is also where I share with people, we have to allow our feelings not overcome facts and our opinions to just be opinions, and to understand that the average age of the world is 30 years old. And especially when we talk about AI, especially when we talk about metaverse, especially when we talk about all these new things, a lot of the times we hear this age comes into play. Oh, well, you youngsters, y'all are so good at that. And I'll bring an example into play that a lot of us said, oh, I'll never get on Facebook. That's for the youngsters. That's for them. Oh, Instagram, that's for those youngsters. They're dancing and all that other stuff. I'll never get on Instagram. Oh, TikTok, I'll never do that, da 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 da. And every single last one of y'all are on one of those because you understood the value that it brought for your business and the exposure that it got to you. And also, you were somewhat forced to get onto that. And just as a lot of people were forced to utilize Zoom after the pandemic, to where when they got on Zoom, oh my God, I didn't know I could share my screen. Oh, I didn't know I could do this. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. And this whole time, Zoom has been around 5 years prior to, but because we weren't educating ourselves and we weren't getting uncomfortable and we weren't learning new things, we didn't do it. And this is that same concept that where people are starting to understand that, first of all, number one, when I do say metaverse, I want you all to understand you do not have to have the VR headsets. And a lot of the times when I ask people, hey, what do you know about metaverse? They don't know. How long did you put on the Oculuses for? What did you go do? Did you go play games? Did you go play Candy Crush? Did you go play Beat Saber? Did you go to Snoop Dogg? Did you go to concerts, right? Or did you go look at it for your business and see how you could create it for your business and create different experiences? Because those are 2 different types of ways at looking at things. And let alone, people have to understand that with us in our metaverse, you can join right now from your cell phone, from your laptop, from your iPad, and your actual Oculus or the Apple Vision Pros that just came out. And for people to be able to make that transition and, more importantly, read the instructions, because just like you got in this room and LinkedIn, just like people got onto Clubhouse, just like people got onto Instagram, that is how easy we have made it to be. It's just how willing you are and not listening to the mass crowds that don't know their ass from their elbows, just to be quite frank. And this is a lot of the times what we do is we listen to people that don't know what they're talking about, nor are they listening at the facts. And I'll share with you and with you all, because if somebody was to come up to me and say, hey, you can, there's going to be a market that's going to increase to $828 billion by 2028, would you? If there was something out there that could get you 75% of consumers, 75% of consumers want this experience, wouldn't you want to do that? If you could have 30% increase in your customer engagement, wouldn't you want a piece of that? If you could have a 40% differential between your client, between you and other businesses, wouldn't you want to do it? If you could create $110 billion in virtual goods, would you do it? Global audience. Would you like to be part of a global audience? Strategic partnerships where over 10 billion companies have invested in this actual, metaverse. Would you
Companies
be a part
have invested over 10 billion. There you go.
Companies have invested over $10 billion in this. Work evolution. 30% of organizations will offer the metaverse by 2025. 70% higher engagement for influencers in the metaverse. And then you have a 25% improvement in brand perception, companies that utilize the metaverse. And these are facts that I share with people that any smart, forward-thinking entrepreneur would sit there and say, yeah, I want a piece of that. How do I get a piece of that? And that's by pivoting and transitioning and moving forward from this old, crusty, dusty Zoom, where Zoom themselves understand that they have to create immersive experiences, which is why now you guys can go and create avatars in your Zooms so they can try to compete with this actual metaverse. And I'm just going to tell y'all this right now. Zoom is your new Blockbuster.
And how much did Nike make last year with being in the metaverse?
Nike alone made $121 million in metaverse.
That was a quarter of their entire annual revenue. Thank you.
So this is where we share with people that, you know, it's the concept of transitioning over. We're at that phase right now where Facebook is out, and now Instagram has came out, and people are like, oh, damn. You mean I got to post on this one and this one? I'm so accustomed. I'm so comfortable with Facebook. I don't want to go over to the other platforms. And here we are. You're over there because it's easier. And so that's really where we're at. So
and it requires no more special equipment than what you already have. If you're already listening to us on LinkedIn through a phone, a tablet, or a laptop, you can actually jump in and experience 3D metaverse instead of a 2D platform like we are on now, where it's audio only, where we can jump in there by the push of less than 4 presses of a button. That's what people don't understand, is that literally if you go to log in Zoom right now, you have to press and open up a web page, okay? That's one press of the button. Then you have to type in zoom.com or Zoom, Google it, zoom.us is what I think it is.
And hopefully you're not getting on your computer, because then you have to have it emailed over to your computer to open up on your computer.
Or you have to download the app, which is an additional, step. And so then once you get on there, you have to hit login if you already have a login, or create a login. Once you get in there, you either create and start your own meeting, or you join a meeting, which is where David's talking about, where the link gets sent to you. And so we have to look at the simple, like I was sharing before, this question was about TikTok and understanding the facts about things and not just what we think that might be going on because of opinions or conversations. Again, there is less than 16% of the global population that understands what metaverse is and how to get in it and what to do in it, because we think that this is something for children. We think it's for gaming. We think it's for these other reasons of doing things, and we don't realize, because we haven't had the Hello LLC or other companies stand up here and say, look, you can use metaverse for this. And then when we make a statement like, your Zoom is going to be the new pager, it is dying and dead, Teams is dying and dead, you are going to mark my words, I will give you $20 between now and 2030, that at some point, Miss Sandra, whether you are an employer or an employee, you are going to be utilizing metaverse. There's going to be employers out there that go out there and say, I'm going to do my Monday morning meeting on metaverse, and everybody from the 20 locations across the United States has to be there at that time, because now I get to see all in the same room by you, not on Zoom where you have to look at different screens to see different faces on a TV. No, you're going to be in a room. You're going to be able to walk up to this person and say, hi, Billy. Hi, Jane. Hi, Sue. Hi, Bobby Joe. And you're going to be able to have conversations one-on-one with the person in front of you, instead of through these audio or visual sides where Zoom is trying and Zoom is even trying to do this, guys. They're trying, because they know Web3 and AI and avatars is the way to be. How many of you played with the Web3 or the Zoom avatars? How many of you played with the AI and the backgrounds in Zoom? Guys, that's nothing but them trying. That is, and I'm telling you this on for value purposes only. This is how they step the general public from one lily pad, Web 2 to Web 3. Because let me tell you, if they ripped off the Band-Aid and all of a sudden we were a Web 3 society, people would flip out because they don't understand it. They've been so used to, for instance, going to the bank to make a deposit, to get cash. Then all of a sudden these ATMs popped up and you could go and get cash only in the beginning from the ATM. You no longer had to go in and see the teller or go through the drive-through. And then all of a sudden, a few years ago, 10 years ago, you can start doing check deposits where you can start depositing funds into your account through the ATM. And then they came out with an app that you all download, and you do it all through your phone. And now you never go into the bank. Guess what? Those were all small, minute pivots that did they were huge pivots, but you didn't know that because they're so small and concise in their approach and their strategy to get you over to Web 3. That is why JP Morgan Chase has now opened a bank branch in the metaverse, because you're going to go into the metaverse and do your banking, and it's going to feel like you walking into a bank today. And how many of us out there are like, I miss the good old days where I can walk in. David's sister, who is younger than both of us here, David's sister the other day was like, I miss the days where you walked in and there was somebody there that greeted you and said, hi, welcome to the store. How can I help you? Do you need anything to help to find anything? She says, you can't find a customer service agent. No, you can't, because they can't afford it. But guess what? You go into the metaverse, there's going to be a customer service agent there that's going to be specifically built for you that knows all of the ins and outs that you want. So it is just understanding the basis of the facts and the equipment that you already have. And it's also understanding that one metaverse does not represent the whole metaverse. And what I mean by that is there are, just like you can go out to Google and open up a web page and go to YouTube, you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to Facebook, you can go to Yahoo, you can go all of these different, any web page that you can think of. That's exactly like the metaverse is that there are different worlds within the metaverse as a whole that offer different experiences. And you might have experienced, for instance, we just did a room last week on our live that we shared with people that we were doing them a disservice by sharing with them to say, hey, your kids are in Roblox, your kids in Fortnite, your kids are in all of these games, and those are metaverse based gaming applications. And what we realized was all of those are extremely blocky.
They are to work with too.
They are very antiquated. But if you come over to the worlds that we're in, it looks like you're actually in, like you have a real 3D body that looks like you. Like David's right now looks like him in a 3-piece suit when he would be suited and booted for corporate America every day. And so we have to understand that just like a Kia drives differently from a Mercedes, and a Mercedes drives different than an F-250, and an F-250 drives different from a Corvette, we have to understand it's different. We've got to experience different things and then be able to understand how that helps us by the technology we already have in the palm of our hands.
And Miss Sandra, one of the questions I would ask you, I would encourage you, and even more importantly, I would love to give you a free demo, book a time in my calendar, and I can show you better than I can tell you. And that goes for anybody, because it's hard for us to sit up here and tell you guys about metaverse, especially if you're not watching us on the live. That's one thing, but actually experiencing it for yourself to see how easy it is. And you guys just heard Miss Roberta Pacino, Al Pacino's sister. She started her podcast in the metaverse. And with you having your podcast, you being a public speaker, this could definitely separate you from the crowd. Instead of you having your clients meet you on, Zoom, and them looking at you and you looking at them, you now can have them come into your 3D immersive experience world that has all the information about you, share your screen. And so I don't know you can share your screen. You can look at me literally where I can put my camera on. You can hear me through this as well. And so Tara just shared it perfectly, that there's different resources and different ways that you can be able to implement it. So, Ms. Sandra, do you have any other questions or anything else you want to add to it?
Listening lounge, wherever you're at, that's for sure.
But yeah, without further ado, guys, hey, look, you guys make sure you come and join us for our Wisdom Wednesday tomorrow. We're going to have an amazing conversation. Crypto curious, come learn why you should care now. That's going to be an amazing conversation. Tara's definitely going to be talking about that and adding in, even more importantly, how this all ties together. And then on Friday, this week Friday, right at this week Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have a special Hello Pivot. Our pivots are normally on Thursday at 6:30, but this week this week for Miss Teresa there it's at 2 o'clock Eastern Friday because she's over on the pond living in UK, and so we're gonna have Miss Teresa Carpenter, a 28-year naval commander. She has her amazing podcast. She's going from motivation to leadership and showcasing us all. And she's going to be coming and joining us and showcasing her amazing story. And then definitely that is also going to be in our metaverse that we're going to be live in. And she's going to be joining us there where you guys can see how easy this is. Once again, I think a lot of the times we allow our fear, we allow our past situations to be today's purpose. And what you might have thought then or what we thought was happening then is not what's happening now. And so this is where we continuously progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
From you. Let you do. Thank you for the invite. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You are welcome so much. We appreciate that all too much. And so, you know, Lady Drew, we just love the love and love you for sharing this, and when you said thank you for showing up, I will tell you something, Lady Drew. If we have an appointment on the books, meaning on the schedule, we are there, unless we have a power outage or something, or we got blown away in a tornado or something, which we do not, knock on wood, we do not want to happen to anybody or us. But if it's on the schedule, we're there. Guys, we have shown up in our business and had rooms like this for 8 years. We've shown up on live. You can go back to our Facebooks, all of our social media. You can see that for the last 8 years, we have been showing up. And let me tell you, there have been days that there's been 0 people in here, and we will do a whole show. We will not just, because nobody's in here, because at the end of the day, it's good practice for us. It allows us to be able to share the information, get comfortable with the information. Our mentor used to share with us, when you have, the point that that you have been able to successfully understand something is when you can turn around and teach somebody else about it. And that has been a huge thing in our lives of, just understanding that when we can take something and for instance, tomorrow's show is about cryptocurrency, blockchain, fintech as a whole. Fintech is financial technology, which is kind of the overall encompassing word that encompasses the entire industry. When we have that conversation tomorrow, what comes down the pipeline is that I have spent the last probably 5 or 6 years listening to cryptocurrency conversations, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any of the any of these spaces that we are able to, conglomerate on. And it is definitely something that took me a long time to understand. And so now as you said, Lady Drew, not that you're proud in a boastful way, but I'm proud of myself being able to understand the knowledge that I'm investing in my time in, and being able to turn around and speak about it appropriately, represent the information appropriately, meaning to the truest fact that I know through my, investigative research, and to be able to then share it back in terms that are simple to understand. Because, I like complex things, but I also have a simple mindset of 1 + 1 needs to equal 2 to me. And, all of us have that. Once 1 + 1 starts to equal 2, dots connect and our creative systems go bonkers, because it makes sense to us, and that we just all have a different learning method. So thank you, Lady Drew, for the positivity, the love, and the sharing of this room. We greatly appreciate you, and everybody else who's popped in today. We've had a great conversation on how to monetize your podcast and your brand. It has been a great conversation. We got to listen to Miss Roberta Pacino with the Kiss of Fame. That is, yes, Al Pacino's sister. She just started her new podcast. She launched it in the Web3 space. So she launched it in Metaverse. She's creating it in a 2D space, but she's hosting it in a 3D space, which is really cool. I shared that because it's important for us all to know that we can create the same way we're creating now and be able to showcase it in 3D. And the like we were sharing with Miss Ramona, what was her name? The young lady that was just up here. Anyways, Mona. No, anyways, the young lady that was just up here in LinkedIn that we were just sharing with about kind of why it's important is a simple.
Miss Jasmine?
No. Miss Jasmine's here. No. Anywho, the simple fact is what I was sharing was is that is the technology we already have in our hands. We can utilize it because we are in a pivot between Web 2 to Web 3. And so that means that like our banking applications, our, even paying our utility bills now, you could probably pay online or through an app, all of these new ways to be able to do e-commerce things like paying utility bills or do banking or buy Amazon. They're pivoting us slowly but surely in small steps into the Web3. And essentially they do that in order to make sure that it's a smooth transition for the mass instead of very abrupt, because again, guys, we understand people don't like change. We've been at times that we didn't like change either. It's something that you have to embrace. And so most of the people in the masses don't like change either. So with that said, as we get ready to wrap up this room, Mr. Jones, got any closing remarks?
Yeah, those of you that do want to come and visit us in the metaverse, I definitely put the link in the LinkedIn chat. You guys go to the view, the 3 buttons at the top, and view details. Definitely give us some likes, some love. Appreciate you all that shared the room. Thank you. That was so lovely of you. I appreciate that. And definitely you guys come and visit us in the metaverse and see it for yourself. And kind of like with Miss Sandra, right? We're making references to things that we're unsure
Miss
about.
Sandra, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay. That we're making references that we're unsure about, and saying things that we might not fully understand, especially as we lay out facts. And a lot of the times we allow facts to discourage us, or that's where our ego, our pride, whatever, I don't want to hear about it. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it this way. And that's not the right way to think, right? I always share this with people, is that rich people come up with solutions, broke people come up with problems. And instead of coming up with problems, we have solutions that we can bring to the table and really elevate people's games, especially understanding that 73% of your consumers want an immersive experience. So I don't know what else to say, how else to say it. You can be that old dinosaur that doesn't want to transition. Like I said, there's a lot of companies that are about to be the next Blockbuster. And there's going to be 2 types of companies. One that utilizes AI and metaverse, and the other one that ain't no longer here, that continues to do things the way that they think that the mama, the daddy, the grandma, the uncle, the cousin, the professor taught them, and that they're going to continue to just go 10 toes down on and continue to do it that way because of the unawareness. And a lot of the times when we do talk about this AI and we do talk about this metaverse, what we get is the pushback of people not knowing what they're talking about or how they're talking about. So they downplay it and try to get everybody else not to, join forces or to experience something more, because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
And just like when dishwashers came out, just like when the internet came out, just like when the cars came out, just like when the iPad came out, people were scared. People doubted it and said it would not work. Let me take away your phone for an hour and let's see how that works for you. Damn sure, let me take away your dishwasher and there's going to be some furniture moving around in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we wish we had a dishwasher here in Mexico. I'd take it like no other. We are the dishwasher. So
that part.
With that being said, guys, we appreciate you joining us. Make sure you come and join us tomorrow for our Wisdom Wednesdays. And until next time, love,
kindness,
integrity,
but most importantly,
commitment
and consistency.
And until next time,
toodles!
We'll see you guys later.
See you guys later. Thanks so much for being here. See you tomorrow. Same time, same back channel.
Toodles!